All right. What's up, everybody? Give everybody a minute to join up. Breaking news. Crazy, 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 crazy. This is just happening now. Uh, um, okay, so there's some video emerging. I'm going to try to pull up and show you guys what I can as it's coming out. Second. Let me get the details first here. This was on webcam. At the Kennedy Center catches explosion midair of Potomac, across the Potomac, as DC helicopter and inbound flight from Wichita, Kansas collide. Unknown people on board both aircraft. So let me just show you a clip here. There's no audio, by the way, but just this. There's the plane right there. Oh, wait, that doesn't even make sense. Where's the plane at? There's a plane going up. There's a helicopter at the bottom. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's just the bottom part to look at. Oh, okay. You see that right there? There's the plane, and then there's a helicopter. Oh my gosh. Wow. Let me get some information here too. And I got So I'm a little confused because I saw a small plane, but then I also see large plane. Okay. So let me just read this information to you guys. Let me jump on camera too. Let me jump on cam. Okay. Sorry about the mess behind me, but so according to Raw Alerts, a significant emergency response is underway and a mass casualty has been declared after an American Airlines jet collided with a DC police helicopter mid-air. Holy crap. Currently, a significant emergency response is underway in Washington, D.C., as a mass casualty event has been declared following reports that an American Airlines jet collided with a helicopter in a possible mid-air collision while landing at Reagan National Airport. Reports indicate that there were 60 people on board the commercial jet that struck the helicopter. One body has been recovered from the rescue boat, though the number of victims' identities remain unclear. The type of aircraft and the exact number of people on board have not been confirmed yet. Authorities have issued a ground stop at Reagan National Airport, and air traffic is being impacted by the crash. Wow. Let me see what else I can find. And that is crazy because I'm always talking about planes and stuff, and I've watched there's a radio broadcast we can listen to. Let's check this out. Oh man, this is crazy. Mid-air collision. American Eagle 5342 and Halo. So let me see what type of aircraft this is.
North 3.
Yeah, it's an American Airlines, dude. Holy crap.
North 3 might be on the other side.
Hit's been sent for Fairfax PD, Baltimore City, and Baltimore County.
All right, thank you.
2139.
Airlines.
Command, yeah. From boat 376. Are you still good with us heading to the North Boathouse for body drop-off, or is there a better location?
Yeah, body drop.
Yeah, I thought you were good for the body drop-off. We're going to go drop off our victims, and then we're going to return back. All right, where are you dropping yours off? I thought we were on North Boathouse. All right, we'll stick with that plan. Just make sure command knows to expect it.
That's crazy, man. That's so
Yeah, I
insane.
thought command had that. I also knew they were talking about an alternate at Capital Cove Marina, but I haven't heard that's definitely yet.
How does that happen, man? There's like communication, there's air towers, there's...
River Branch from command. Just know why we do not have any patients on the airport side for your count. And if you have an updated count of victims that have been taken to the DC side, could you update me on that, please? We'll get you an update on that in a second. I thought all victims were going to the North Boathouse this time. I think the airport boat has several victims. We got a couple. We're coming up to the North Boathouse right now.
Damn, dude.
Okay.
What's on the river command from for fire? Right.
River Branch should be on. River Branch, you can stay right here on 3 Lima.
Yeah, I got another camera. The other camera is not much better, but what I'll do is we'll do both screens. So I'll open it up now. Hold on. Kind of the same view. I actually think this one's a little bit sharper. It's the same view, but this was a little bit sharper.
River Branch to command.
Do this right here. Kind of the same view. I don't know.
Local command 300. Switch to 3 Charlie. 3 Charlie.
Damn, so let me see what else I can find. So they're saying a DC police helicopter collided with a commercial plane.
I'd like to put River Branch on Mike 1, Michael Charlie 1, due to MPD assets, mutual aid for the River Branch. Put everybody on Mike 1.
This was the collision call right here on the bottom. It's going to replay it again, zoomed in.
And do you want me to stay on here for your command channel or 3 Lima for your command channel? Command channel is going to stay on 3 Charlie. Command communications.
You can kind of see
Branch, confirm 3 Charlie.
the plane right there to the left, kind of the plane colliding into the chopper. You can see it there.
Charlie 8, FIS, lane number 45. Forced open door alarm.
Yeah, okay, got it.
1243.
There's an announcement on 3 Lima. Marine operations will be switching to DC Mike 1. DC Mike 1.
I hope they don't go encrypted.
David 24, disregard, we just got a call.
Over.
1243.
That's affirmative. We do show that.
Okay, what was the other gate you offered to American Umar? I think you said 49?
49.
Horrible,
Okay,
man.
49.
Three Sides True Crime donated $10 through Super Chat. Airplane crash. Mid-air collision between American Eagle 5342, N709 PS, and Hilo Army Pac 25, VH-60.
Thank
both
you.
aircraft in the Potomac.
Cut it off. Potomac off 33. Highway 33, I think. Multiple dead on arrival. SRAR in progress. Oh, man. This is nuts, man. This is like the type of stuff that I fear. Like this type of shit. Like these flights.
Oh, wow. So
Command from 378. Go ahead. We're approaching the North Roadhouse with 4 victims. We'll need medical care for 1 responder. Cut hand.
I'm approaching the end of 33 with, I believe, 5 light towers.
So
EMS branch to Medic 101.
I wonder how high the plane was. Was the plane taking off? The plane landing? I guess landing, maybe? Or was it taking off? I have to watch the video again.
There should be some ops personnel there to help you with setting things up.
So they're saying...
I'll see it, yeah.
They're saying this is a massive plane. Okay, well, commercial plane crashes in D.C. CRJ, I'm hearing different things. CRJ 700 plane collided with chopper over Potomac River. Ground stopped ordered at Reagan Airport. Plane can hold over 60 passengers. Massive firebolt response. Number of casualties unknown. So who knows? I hope that there's some chance somehow that people have survived this. I don't know how. This mid-air collision, you know, I don't know. I've heard of stuff of people falling out of the air. I don't know how high in the air they were.
Copy that. Casualty collection point 1724 South Capitol Street, Southeast. It's the heliport.
That's correct. Command from boat 378. We're going to approach the north side of the North Boathouse to drop the body boat.
Jeez.
Copy that.
Boy, what's up, man? Damn, man, you would expect...
162, I'm free.
You would expect the technology now, you know, that this type of thing wouldn't really happen. Like, the chances of it happening is just... A plane flying from Kansas City crashed in Washington, D.C.
EMS branch, do you have a account for victims that have arrived at the North Boathouse? At this point, I do not. I will get it for you. I'm set up a few hundred feet away from the boathouse myself. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let me see what else is popping off online.
Airport fire from Chief 303.
Yeah, doesn't look good at all, man.
Chief 303.
If you would for the incident DCA, mark me on scene the DCA, I'll be reporting to the command post. Correction to the LESC airport ops.
Airport fire, okay.
We know, just stand by.
Yeah, you can see it from here how the plane is coming from the side. Wait till it zooms in here. Plane is coming in. Chopper's right here. That is just, oh man, it's like unbelievable, man, to see that. Wow.
Sounds safe.
That is nuts, man. And so it looks like it was the end of their flight. I guess they came from Kansas,
Someone call out.
coming into D.C.
In case anybody asks, command is set up on the south side of 33 EMAS.
They even have the picture here.
We'll go.
there's going to be a massive effort to try to search, try to recover. It's not, to me, it's not looking good, but I hope so. There's, I don't know, there's somehow some survivors, but that mid-air collision, I mean, that explosion. There was a story one time I heard of a lady falling out of a plane. She made like the world record. I forgot how high she fell. I forgot what she landed on.
Adam 356. I'm North 20. I'm prepared for duty wherever I'm needed. I have cruiser 316.
Adam 520. Same traffic.
Some confusion on the DC side of things. I've got a number for you to reach the command post directly.
Vesna Volvak, 1972.
We got DC reps at the command post. They can reach out directly to their reps.
Okay. It's Chief McCoy on the DC side.
Copy. Can you relay the message that we have a couple midnight units that are prepared for duty and give us whatever they need help with?
Okay, y'all stand.
What?
Okay.
Saw it there in real time as she was asking the emergency responders with Fairfax County, where are you going? Who are you helping? And he responded. He was very candid with her and honest and said, we're trying to figure that out.
Okay, we're going to take a deep breath here for a second because we want to show you video that's into the newsroom. This is from EarthCam, and this is from near the Kennedy Center, and this is what we've just been authorized to show you. We're working to get that ready to show you. Here it is. This is what's being said to be the moment that the collision happened there. Again, we're being told, here's a better angle. This is not a live shot. I want to stress, this is not a live, or is this a live shot? Or no, okay. We just want to be careful with that because we want people to know that what happened and what is happening. But this is the moment, purportedly, that a helicopter crashed, collided with what is only being called a small aircraft at this hour.
I'm not sure why they're doing that.
North 3.
Yeah. So you can see the flash
well,
there.
Maybe considering 60 people in there.
Look, so the plane on top, it looks like that was taking off. And then you could see in the middle of the screen there,
you see
right there.
It's hard to tell which aircraft was which.
Yeah.
There's really no way for us to confirm that at this point.
I would imagine. Okay, let's watch it again. So that disregard the one on top, because that is a plane taking off up on top of the screen. There, what I'm imagining, you can see the smaller vehicle with the flashing lights there on the left. And right here is the moment of impact. Again, this is coming from EarthCam. This is the camera over near the Kennedy Center, which points over towards the Potomac and over towards Reagan National. So,
okay,
that is what we're showing you. And on the right side of your screen, that is Nana Sent Bonsu's camera, where she's at Gravelly Point, where a lot of the at least from that vantage point, Fairfax County Rescue was just there showing up to get those boats in the water.
Yeah, you can see them actively working right now. We have emergency response security establishing. They continue, it sounds like, to establish a perimeter around this search and rescue operation. All of this not only to decrease the risk of the situation, but also to control access to those who are not authorized to be there. As you can imagine, they're going to have a lot of different agencies working on this. It seems like there's still a lot of unanswered questions, as we noticed when Nana was talking with some of the emergency responders that had just gotten to the scene. They're still trying to figure out what their role in this is going to be as they were headed out. Yeah.
Go ahead, Angie. I'm gonna send a message to our assignment desk on this here.
But as time goes by, and we continue to show you, for those of you who are just joining us right now, you're looking at Reagan National. On the right-hand side of your screen, in that lower corner right there, you somewhat see that fireball right there. That is what is believed to be the collision between these small aircraft and the unidentified helicopter. We did get recent information. There were reports in the beginning that they believed it was a DC police helicopter. That is not the case.
Correct.
It has been confirmed that it was not a DC police helicopter. Now, as more time goes by, those specific details that will perhaps be able to tell us a lot more about what happened leading up to this moment. Specific details about the flight number, also the kind of helicopter, where the miscommunication happened. Unfortunately, a lot of this probably won't be known for a while, you know, for days, for sometimes weeks and months, and that's just because there's so many things that go into an investigation following a tragedy and an accident like this. You have not only different agencies working together like the FAA and NTSB, but you know, you've got the black box collection, right? You've got the cockpit voice recorder. All of that stuff comes with time.
So the black box donated $5 through Super Chat. Our aviation seems to have the flight paths and involved aircraft figured out, if you want to take a look. Sad to see, and prayers for all.
That's Reddit, I think, right? I'll take a look. Yeah, they usually, those aircrafts, from the documentaries I've watched, they capture the last 30 minutes. We'll be able to find out what happened, or they'll be able to put the audio or listen to the audio of what happened the last 30 minutes. I still don't understand how this happens. They're saying that, I mean, I've heard mixed reviews. I mean, not mixed reviews, mixed numbers as far as how many passengers that plane could carry. I've heard from 60 to 70 something. So we're still, I guess they're still trying to confirm the numbers. The FAA says a regional jet collided with a BLACKHAWK helicopter. So I saw somebody in the chat saying that. Brian Enton just posted that. BLACKHAWK helicopter, military helicopter. How does this happen?
Well, at least what we're hearing here. A multi-agency search and rescue operation underway in the Potomac, which is what you can see at this point. Yeah, let's hold off on that top one there. But again, working to get more information on this. Okay, I'm going to read a statement. This is just coming in from D.C. Police. At 8:53 p.m., multiple calls were received for an aircraft crash above the Potomac River. D.C. Fire and EMS, the Metropolitan Police Department, and multiple partner agencies are currently coordinating a search and rescue operation in the Potomac. This is the thing we need to point out. There is no confirmed information on casualties at this time. And when you hear the word casualties, it takes on different meanings sometimes. Casualties does not equate to deaths. Sometimes casualties means injuries. But let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point, because we're still working to get those details as all that's coming. Okay, that was, okay, you can, so you go ahead and repeat that.
So, so this coming out of the White House, Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, has confirmed to Fox News that President Trump has been made aware of this tragedy, and that tragically it does appear that a military helicopter was involved in this crash with this small regional aircraft.
What the heck?
So that is coming from the White House, that he is aware of the situation on the Potomac. He's been briefed on it, and that a military helicopter, we still don't know the kind, what kind, but collided with a regional jet here at the DCA airport.
Okay. All right, let me just repeat what I've been told. The FAA has confirmed that a passenger jet collided with a helicopter while landing at Reagan National Airport. We don't know how many passengers are on board the plane. We're working on confirming the plane involved. We've learned that there will be a briefing coming up at the airport. Nana has been told by the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority there will be a briefing at Reagan National in the terminal coming up in just a little bit. And I want to point something else. It said there'll be a briefing just for location purposes. It's going to happen near Air Canada, but it is not the airline involved in the crash. So that's just for location standpoint. And I just want to point that out, because as I look at social media and look at a lot of speculation that's going around, I mean, we're telling you what we've learned. But again, it is a plane that collided with a military helicopter at this hour. At 8:53 p.m. If you're joining us, it's 10 o'clock. This is Fox 5, and you're watching live continuing coverage of an apparent tragedy that's happened in the skies right near Reagan National Airport at 8:53 p.m. We've been told that calls came in for a collision between a military helicopter and a small aircraft. At this hour, it is said to be a passenger aircraft colliding in the Potomac, which is why you see this giant response out there. I realize it appears the shots may be frozen at times as you're looking at those images. That is normal in situations like this, but you can see it as a very fluid situation. And we have been reaching out to our sources, the Associated Press, again confirming by way of the FAA that this has been a passenger jet involved in this, but in terms of what passenger jet, we don't know.
And as you can tell from your screen here, nothing short of a massive search and rescue operation that is underway.
Okay, I can hear it now.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
This just coming into Fox 5 by way of Fox News. The FAA says the plane involved was Flight 5342.
She's live from the scene.
This?
Let's see what she has to say.
Hi.
Well, I think she's there, but I guess maybe they're not ready yet.
We're at Haynes Point.
This is just so freaking wild to me, man. So at first they were reporting a police chopper, now they're saying it's a military Black Hawk chopper that the collision happened with. I mean, holy moly, I mean.
Microphone check, 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Microphone check.
Maybe we'll come back to her in a bit. Well, I'm kind of curious to see what she has to say. She's right there. Oh, we got chopper too. We got some chopper feed here.
Boy, it is amazing the people that have come out for this.
Okay, we'll come back to her. They have live chopper feed too. Let's check this out.
This is a Bombardier CRJ 700 jet that was apparently involved in this. So you could see just in terms of the operation out there, and presumably a lot of the roads leading into Reagan National. This from FlightAware. Yeah, let's pull it up right now. So FlightAware keeps track of these, and you can see on the screen there. Let's go down just a little bit, and you can see where it does that loop. Yeah, let's try. Yeah, it does that loop where it goes down the Potomac, and it does that northern approach.
Yeah.
As it comes up along the Potomac, as the flight paths generally do, coming up into Reagan National Airport, and right around there, which again, where you see where that green line stops. Let's go back up to the map, please. You can see where that we were told that the calls came in. The calls were coming into DC Fire and EMS. So generally right around that area in Southwest DC, the first calls it had said First Street Southwest. At least that would mean maybe somebody called it in from First Street Southwest. But that's what we're seeing. And again, it took off at 5:39 p.m. Central Time. It was set to land just around 9 o'clock, and that's when this crash happened. Again, this was a regional jet involved in the crash. And, look at that. Now it says all inbound flights being held at their origin until Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. And I would imagine it's going to be a lot longer than that.
I don't think it's that.
Yeah. You mentioned that they did set up a casualty collection area, like an area for people to gather. That has been established, from what we understand, or is in the process of being established.
We just know where the briefing is going to happen. We know it's going to happen at the airport. By the way, Congressman Don Beyer saying, I'm following the response to a reported aviation incident at DCA, in touch with airport officials as we try to learn more about what happened and why. This is obviously very worrying, but I urge the community to please let first responders do their jobs and save lives. The latest information coming down from DC Fire and EMS as we give you that live look over at Skyfox, that DC Fire and EMS is now in joint command with DC Police Department. So at this point, it appears that DC Police are going to be at least the lead agency getting information out to the public as we continue to get these details coming in.
Let's see here.
So it says here, PSA Airlines Bombardier CRJ 700 regional jet collided in midair with a Sikorsky H-60 helicopter. while on approach to runway 33, Reagan Washington National Airport around 9 p.m. local. PSA was operating Flight 5342 for American Airlines.
How many people were on board that plane, but again, it is a
Joy
passenger
Wilson
flight.
donated $5
We have
through
seen a
Super
massive
Chat.
interagency
Hey, Mel,
response
great to
involving
see you
Fairfax
back.
County
This
Police,
is a sad
Fairfax
situation.
County Fire. They were the ones dropping some of those boats
Joy, thank
into
you so
the
much.
Potomac right
You're doing
outside
good.
of Gravelly Point, which is where our Nana
You
Senga
catch
Bonsu has
up.
been talking with first responders there, but obviously not getting in the way of the response. And look, I mean, you know, there have been a number of incidents that have happened at Reagan National through the years. This is not anything new, unfortunately, but it is rare, and that speaks a lot to the level of safety we've seen in our nation's air traffic control system in the last decades.
Yeah, rare indeed. I mean, we have all done the stories about the shortages and, you know, with the FAA and so forth and the close calls. But as you mentioned, all in all, when you look at the big picture of things, it is rare. It doesn't happen often. And especially something of this magnitude does not happen often.
I want to point out, as we mentioned,
according to Colin, so I haven't heard confirmed reports. Maybe we should play this clip here. He's saying, he posted this 5 minutes ago on Twitter, 60 people reportedly deceased. Holy moly, if that's true. I mean, I don't know how you survive from that type of collision. Body drop-offs of victims are currently taking place.
I'll keep it off the record, but a well-known congressman just wrote me and said off the record, this congressman was told, I mean, look at that response. I don't think we'd see that kind of response if something significant didn't happen here. I pray that that is not the case. But this congressman is telling me and confirming what Kevin Cork said, that this congressman is being told that there are 60 plus dead. I hope and pray that that is not true. Very, very chilling. Apparently there is some videotape that we might be getting up here momentarily as well. Let me bring into the program now, joining us on the phone, former commercial airline pilot safety expert Kathleen Banks. Kathleen, I can't imagine a response like that unless something very, very significant happened.
Hey, Sean, I'm sorry to be talking to you again under such tragic circumstances. As one of your previous guests said, this is highly ironic in that we did have that very famous crash that actually ended up doing a lot for aviation safety. That would have been Air Florida that hit the Potomac Bridge, taking off out of Washington National in 1982. What's ironic is it is, I believe, the same week. I think it was, roughly about the same week. Yeah, what it's looking like right now, and as you know, this is all very breaking news, all coming in very quickly. Lots of stuff unverified at this point, so we have to be very careful. But reports I'm getting from people in the industry are telling me that this was a commuter airline flight from Wichita to DCA, and that appears to be the case, at least from what we are hearing, again, preliminarily. I don't want to name the airline or the flight number. And again, these regionals.
Man, so they're saying, some reports are saying, we don't know, it's not confirmed, but 60 plus dead. Just like that. How does this happen, man? In today's like technology and stuff, like how does this happen? And who's to blame? Is there anybody to blame? Like, how does this happen?
Pictures of what you're seeing from where you are. I mean, I'm looking at a picture here from Arlington. You won't see it, but I'm just seeing it on my computer here that our colleague Steve Shenevy sent over, and you could just see the sea of lights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if you're looking from the Kennedy Center vantage point, I mean, this is all you see.
Yeah.
It's changed the skyline. I mean, it's unbelievable.
All right. Again, we're waiting because there is going to be a briefing, but you want to make sure. Wait, 1 second. Go ahead, Jake. Okay. What we're doing is we're waiting to hear when there will be some communication. Okay. All right, let's go back to Nana Setiobonsu. And Nana, you were the one that we learned of that there would be a briefing coming from police or coming from authorities a little bit later. But let's talk to you right now. And as you see that rescue situation, just describe the scene for me.
Yes, Jim. So the scene has actually changed from when we spoke about 20 minutes ago. You remember there was a number of boats and actually going into the Potomac. Turn around, look right over here. These boats are actually heading towards the airport right now. So we're trying to figure out why these boats left this area of gravel. It appears to be. So I'm not too sure if this area wasn't close enough to the water or wherever they're actually trying to search. We did see a number of them go inside, as you remember. But now this is the last boat right here that just came out, and it seems like they're strapping up, putting it back on the truck, and heading towards the airport right now. So we're keeping our eyes on this to see what exactly is taking place. But just as of 20 minutes ago, you could see a number of Fairfax County fire crews going inside the Potomac, but it looks like they've pulled out, getting back onto GW, heading straight towards Reagan National. So definitely a lot developing here in just about 20 minutes, kind of like a staging area, but if you look right over here, there's not a boat in sight.
Wow, and that was pretty quick because when you got there, they were just dropping them in there. And I'm glad that we went back to you on this just to get a sense of I guess they're getting an idea of the scope of what needs to be done. So where you are right now, it seems like there's just a few crews there. We're not seeing much in the way of a rescue base there at Gravelly Point, right?
Correct. When it comes to the water, there's nothing taking place here. But come over here behind me, there's just like the last of the two boats, and then we're going to pan against the left. There are still Fairfax County fire crews and trucks out here, but definitely not as many as we saw when we were coming in. When we were heading here about 30 minutes ago, it seemed like this was the location. That's how we got here. We literally followed the sirens. We came here, but now it looks like everyone's pulling back out.
Oh, I hope so.
203 fire at the courthouse. Copy, medic 411. Ambulance 411's parked courthouse. Ambulance 411, thanks. Medic 110. Flower 2 at the boathouse. Medic 204. Medic 204 is parked at the boathouse. Medic 101.
Far at the boathouse.
Medic 102. Medic 102 far at the boathouse. And Medic 207.
Medic 207 far at the boathouse.
Copy. EMS 101. EMS 101 far at the boathouse. And EMS 102.
American Airlines.
And EMS 201.
What's up with this
EMS 201 park boathouse. Yeah. Yes, please. Hello there. Ops 3, Ops 6.
I don't know who said that. People are claiming there's reports of survivors. I hope so.
At the north boat dock. Roger, stand by for them. Carrier moved into the command center in the big vehicle. He is the one with the information directly from command. Copy that. I'm going to go back to Gate Victor and get another bus. Gate Victor, you said? Correct. Go ahead. All right, all units assigned to the MCI line and 3 Delta Airport. Copy that. Also, total count is 8. 1 treated and released, and PDO. Copy that. Total count 8.
Total count 8.
Hey, are you available to pick up Selena from 141?
I'm about to tow this aircraft.
Copy, disregard. engine 161 and engine 161 Bravo are all car with 4 in the boathouse.
Copy, thank you.
Police scanner on DCA crash at 10:12. So somebody here said no survivors. I don't know. LA scanner had made a claim. I thought maybe he heard that somewhere. He said he heard survivors, but this person, Katie, is saying that
Airport 5 from EMS 381 from Bravo.
on the scanner she heard no survivors. So I'm trying to. I guess we have to wait for the confirmation for the information.
What's the command channel for command?
Thank you, Jim Cracker. Hope you're doing good. This is, dude, crazy. Ouch.
CAN 422. Logs 30101. Mass casualty alarm. Runway 33 DCA. Runway 33 DCA. On channel.
IMC McGuinness donated 10 Australian dollars through Super Chat. Welcome back, mate. Hope you got your wheel balls and Aussie snacks.
And I'll escort them there.
Oh, I gotta check, Aussie. Thank you.
Every unit should be staging at 301 right now. Who specifically is trying to move?
Give me 1 second. I'll get the command officer of some sort. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Anything else? Coordinate with the officer of engine 303.
It's going to be an Airbus 319.
A319, copy.
They're saying that the aircraft carried
I don't
64
see anything
people,
on video. I'm resetting.
including 4 crew members. The number of passengers on the BLACKHAWK remains unknown.
Okay, so you have engine 301 Bravo, medic 301 Bravo, ambulance 427, and medic 302 there.
I've not seen medic 427. I just had a pile of boats pull in, and we're having them stage here until we hear further.
Okay, those units were instructed to the South Boathouse. Just confirm it's Fairfax's Swift Water Team, and they're going to the South Boathouse.
That's correct. It looks like Fairfax's Swift Water Team. I'll coordinate with EMS 381.
Very good.
Ambulance 427 is arriving on scene.
Copy that. Is that an encumbrance? Let me know if we need to reroute that.
As of right now, it's not posing a problem.
Copy. Keep us updated.
Did we get confirmation? Are there people on the DC shoreline, or is everybody coming here?
I have a reset. Okay, sir.
Okay. Let's see what they're saying on the news right now.
Velocity, heartache. So we're going to go down inside the airport right now, Jim and Angie, to try to speak with families and people who may be waiting for their loved ones.
All right, Sierra Fox for us there at the airport, and we're just getting new information right now. This is coming from, Mike Thomas just sharing this information with us. As we mentioned, that big response, and we saw from NANA a lot of those boats being pulled out of the water at Gravelly Point and moved elsewhere. Buoy data, so we talked about the water temperature, 35.4 degrees at this hour in the Potomac and the buoys right around Reagan National. So when you talk about water temperatures like that, that is cold enough where you can lose consciousness in just about 15 to 30 minutes. Wow. It could be fatal in just about 30 to 90 minutes. And, you know, look, I realize we can, you know, we're just mentioning this is we're mentioning that because clearly this is a water rescue situation at this hour. And when you look at the air temperature out there mixed with the water temperature, it is not just treacherous for those involved in this crash, but
some people already online I see are saying they believe they're saying, how could it not be intentional? Some people think
what we know at this point, because there are a lot of unknowns, it has been confirmed that this regional plane, the American Airlines 5342, possibly with 60 passengers aboard, including crew, coming in from Wichita upon arrival, collided with a military helicopter flown by the U.S. Army. A ground stop is in place here at DCA. We know a terminal does remain open at this time. The President Trump, has been briefed, this according to his press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. He's been briefed on the incident and is offering his thoughts and his prayers with all of those involved, along with Vice President J.D. Vance, getting word that he also is aware of the situation and is asking everyone to say a prayer for everybody involved in this mid-air collision.
Just getting new information from the FAA now on the airline. This is, again, we're saying it's an American Airlines flight. It's flown by a subsidiary, PSA Airlines. A Bombardier CRJ-700 regional jet colliding midair with a Sikorsky H-60 helicopter while on approach to Reagan National.
So check this out. I don't know. Okay. So according to this person, I don't know, they're claiming NBC Washington is claiming that at least 4 survivors have been removed from the water. I'm going to try to confirm that. Let me read. Somebody tagged NBC. Let me read this article, and I'll update you guys about that.
To see how something like this could happen. What you notice when we looked at that video from the vantage point of from the Kennedy Center, where you see basically what appears to be those 2 aircrafts coming together and conjoining into that fireball before it just disappears and falls out of the sky. You also see, and you draw people's attention, don't look at that, you know, up above. Don't look at that aircraft. It's a busy airport.
Yeah,
there are multiple planes at any given time coming through, and it really is, you know, the logistics and the flight path, what they do is pretty darn incredible every single day, considering the amount of traffic that goes in and out of our nation's capital. And
I don't know. I guess we'll
as you know, mistakes can happen, and in this case,
I'll keep looking.
We don't know what happened, and we actually are still waiting to find out if one or both of the aircraft still are in the water and how many people are involved, if there are survivors, if anybody has been rescued at this point. We have our crew on the ground. Sierra Fox, you saw there at Reagan National, working her way into the terminal, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more information from her. We still don't have a timetable on this press briefing that we're expected to get from officials there at DCA. We're hoping it's been, what, maybe a little over an hour and a half, 90 minutes or so since this news broke.
By the way, we mentioned Ted Cruz, and the reason his insight on this is actually quite important is because as a senator, he is on the Commerce Committee, which oversees transportation, chair of the Commerce Committee, which covers transportation. So, you know, he would be one of the ones getting a briefing. Again, we heard from Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas, Congressman Don Beyer, who represents Northern Virginia, also getting some of that information coming in. But if you know anybody,
so planes have this like TCAS technology. I guess it's only for planes. I guess it doesn't work like for detecting other aircraft, like maybe helicopters. It says airplanes use a variety of technologies to avoid other planes, including traffic alert and collision avoidance system, TCAS. But I guess that only applies for other planes. So in this situation, when it's just so crazy for me to, I don't know, man, to see it happen on video, for something like this to happen in 2025 with all the technology, all the AI, all the traffic control, all everything.
So that seems to be the
and with a military chopper at that,
the top of the line number that we're looking at least right now. But we don't have confirmation how many people were on board.
And we also know that American Airlines, they have come out and said that they are aware of a crash and one of their planes being involved, but they've been very vague at this point, only to say that they will provide more information as they get it. So
I'll tell you what we'll do right now. As we're waiting to get more information, I think what helps is getting insight on what goes on with these in these sort of situations. Let's bring in Richard Levy. He is an aviation expert. He's joining us right now on Zoom. Richard, first of all, let's talk about situations like this, which is something, thankfully, is so rare in American aviation. However, when it happens, it is shocking and it is stunning.
It really is. Good evening to you on our thoughts with the passengers in this situation. The military helicopter was on approach to runway 33 at Washington Reagan National. The commuter airplane, the PSA aircraft, and I'm being very clear, I'm making an assumption, I do not have the facts yet, was most likely cleared for an approach to runway 01, and I don't have that as a fact. And so where the midair collision occurred over the Potomac, did one airplane make a mistake about identifying the runway? We don't know that yet. Obviously, there was a midair collision, and the aircraft are most likely in the Potomac River, as you all have been reporting. So that is going to lead us to the air traffic control tapes that will be focused on the approach controller. That's the radar controller for the approaches into Washington Reagan, and the tower controller. What approach were the helicopter, the military helicopter, and the PSA Bombardier 700, CRJ 700, cleared for to fly, and what runways did the tower clear the airplanes to land on? Of course, they would not clear them to land on the same runway. We know that. So was there a mistake made on identifying the runway? Did the one of the aircraft, and I'm calling the helicopter, of course, an aircraft also, was that one of the two aircraft not correctly lined up with the runway that created the collision? And I'd like to clarify one point, though. The PSA airplane is a regional airline and operated on behalf of American Airlines, but the flight crew training, the maintenance, the procedures of PSA are purely owned by and operated by PSA. They are not trained at American Airlines. So I wanted to make that very clear. This is very usual, regardless of the major airline. Delta, United, and American, they have regional airlines, as we all know, that feed them and on thinner routes. And this is an example one from Wichita up to Washington Reagan.
Captain Levy, so you've spent decades in the skies.
Yeah, I'm going to play the audio now, guys.
We've had a number of various across the country so-called close calls. And there is a certain belief that people know when you get on an airplane, you're putting your life in the hands of a captain, but you also know that we have a rigorous system of training and a rigorous system of safety protocol. We just mentioned the last time we saw a major incident at Reagan National was back in 1982 when Air Florida Flight 90 went down.
Right.
It's been some time that we've talked about something like this in our nation.
It has been, and that is correct. And this is going to point at, as I mentioned, a midair collision.
Christina Rojas donated $5 through Super Chat. My husband is in the Army 10 years now and works on both BLACKHAWKs and Chinooks. Oops, do not just happen. Someone messed up very bad.
Yeah, it has to be.
Was in the wrong position at the wrong time. That is a big mystery. Obviously, you have a different speed of the Bombardier 700 jet versus the military aircraft, the military helicopter, I'm sorry, which is going to be flying at 30 or 40 knots. The regional aircraft will be flying at, my guess, 120 knots. We use knots in aviation. That's about 140 miles per hour. So you have a huge difference in speeds. That brings the question to mind again. If one aircraft, the PSA was on final approach to land on 01, that is up the Potomac River, basically, and then the military helicopter on 33, where did the midair collision occur and where was the mistake made? You'll get the voice recorder and the cockpit voice recorder off of the PSA aircraft. It'll be recovered and they'll play that back. And of course, the air traffic control tapes are already, they're always recorded. So I think we're going to put this thing together very fast. I'm not saying tonight or tomorrow, but rapidly. You're going to have a lot of evidence coming out.
Yeah, and in your experience, Captain, because considering the time of night, and I believe the FAA, when they put their statement out, they said how the plane was cleared to, or was arriving and landing on runway 33, which that could be any runway. I don't know the layout of the ground there, but considering the fact that it seemed like a good day, we did have a lot of high wind out there, but overall, a clear night to be out there in the skies. Visibility and issues, I mean, I know it's all preliminary right now, but in your experience, the possibility of something like this happening, choosing the wrong runway after being cleared for a certain one, I mean, what are the chances that that can happen, and what could be the factors involved?
Yeah, mistaken identification. We have electronic equipment on the aircraft, for example, for runway 01, that allows you to land in very low visibility. It's called the Instrument Landing System. On runway 33, I haven't flown into Washington, Reagan. I flew internationally before I retired. In any event, it either has an ILS, which is very accurate, or an approach to keep it simple for your listeners or viewers, that is based on GPS, global proximity systems. But so there should have been adequate spacing, and there would have been. And why there wasn't, that's going to be a matter of question. But you do raise a very, very good point. Regional airlines, larger, the 747s, 777s, Airbus, 737s, etc., and this regional airplane, they have TCAS, Traffic Collision Avoidance System, and it picks up an imminent collision, and you get an alert through the speakers on the in the aircraft. It says traffic, traffic. So you're seeing the other aircraft, even a helicopter, and then if a collision is imminent, now I'm not saying the next second, in about 20 seconds, it'll say climb, climb, or of course not descend, descend. You're very close to the ground, or so that's going to be a question. The TCAS is TCAS. TCAS, did the military aircraft? I flew military, but a military transport, and so I don't know if the military helicopter had the TCAS. That's a big question. Why didn't it go off and alert one of the crews? Go ahead,
Captain Levy. I want to ask you one more.
And that's literally, I was just talking about the TCAS.
Yeah. When you're flying into DC airspace, I mean, you have low-flying helicopters. You have the question of, are they lit up? Are they visible? Is there much communication between military pilots and commercial pilots?
Mm-hmm. Often military, for the obvious occurrence of situation with the White House right there, most of the communications are on the same frequency we call VHF. Military can use UHF, ultra high frequency, but normally around Washington, Reagan, everybody's going to be on the same frequency, and that brings up a good question. I'm hearing a helicopter cleared for an approach on near the same runway I'm on. That would make me be very concerned.
All right. That is Captain Richard Levy, airline expert, joining us here on Fox 5. Sir, thank you.
Okay, so I want to play this audio that I was tagged in, and a couple people were talking about. This is they're saying that pulled the ATC audio from around the time of the reported incident at DCA. You can hear the audible gasps in the tower. Controller then sent other traffic around. There's nothing to see, it's just audio, by the way.
Pat 25, get the CRJ in flight. Pat 25, pass line is CRJ. Good seven. American 472 by pass now for individual. American 472, Washington Star, 1 star, 32017. West. Did you see that?
Lighting in the most secure.
American 2130, go around, turn left in 250, flight maintain 3000. Okay, left in 350, 3000, American 3130. Tower, Blue Streak, 5347 is on final. Request runway 33, circle to 33. Make it heading for record 3130. Record 3130, go out. Select them 2705, maintain 3000. 370 on the heading, 3000, American 3130. American 472, Council Land Clearance, runway 1 continue.
Man, really knows anything. Somebody screwed up big time. How does this happen? People are saying they don't think it was a mistake. Some people think it's intentional. I don't know what to think, man. Just little information out. Flight tracker.
I think in a situation like this, as you point to the people who are out there, and we have seen members of the media attending to the scene out, I'm sure there is a good amount of speculation. People want to see what's going on. As Shamari just mentioned, Gravelly Point.
Chilling radio transmission as the plane crashed.
Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3. Oh, shit. Where's the alert 3? It is off the approach end of runway 33. Approach end of runway 33. Helicopter crashed. Helicopter. Yes, copies. Copy out this morning. No, nobody clear. Got it. Everybody in the building? Come up here immediately. Crash. It's alert 3. 2 helicopters. Helicopter CRJ approaching runway 33.
Yeah, somebody screwed up, man.
Today, and so first day on the job, and quite the tall order here. But yes, he is at headquarters right now, and we also know that in addition to him, the president, also the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, says that she's been debriefed as well. And Pete Hegseth also has said that they are there, ready to assist, ready to help in any way that they can.
All right. So at this hour, again, as we wait to get more information on what happened, we do not have any confirmation on how many people were on board that plane. As mentioned, those rescue boats, at least from where Nana was at Gravelly Point, they were in and they were out very quickly. They relocated. But there's the information we're getting from the FAA. It was a Sikorsky H-60 helicopter while on approach to runway 33. And when you look at the flight plan out there, and when we just talked with Captain Richard.
So they're saying now, breaking news, officials say the military BLACKHAWK helicopter has been located upside down and almost fully submerged. There are likely no viable victims inside. So that's from Raw Alerts. Military BLACKHAWK located upside down, almost fully submerged. Wow.
As you look at that, the vantage point there, we were talking before, there's the collision, but from the other vantage point, just to speak to the volume of planes that come in and out, you saw another plane right there on top, just taking off. At that moment, well above. I mean, you know, that was nowhere near the crash site, maybe vertically, but certainly not within close proximity.
You also notice the different speeds, which the captain mentioned that to us. And it's hard at this point to tell which aircraft perhaps maybe chose or missed the right runway. So, and like he said, I was surprised to hear from him that he thinks it won't take long for them to to be able to really put a finger on perhaps where that miscommunication or where the misjudgment happened once they're able not only to get the black box but the cockpit, voice recorders to find out what kind of chatter, what was going on.
All right, so inside, they're going to do that briefing inside a little bit later, but we want to go to Sierra Fox. She's now inside the airport terminal, and as mentioned, they stopped the flights going in and out, and Sierra, it is empty behind you at this hour.
Wow. Oh, she's at the airport, yeah.
Ominous feel. I mean, look, it's completely empty. There's no one behind the computers there, no one waiting in line, no one grabbing their luggage or anything. It is completely empty. I can even hear myself have an echo in here because there's barely anyone. We've seen the occasional law enforcement agencies running back and forth. Obviously, there is a sense of urgency due to that mid-air collision that happened around 9 p.m. And if you look at the boards over here, soon it will change. But right now it says emergency alert due to an emergency situation. All flights are being held on the airfield. Additional information will be available as received for customers on departing flights. Please check with your airline representative. But it's definitely such a scary feel in here. We have seen a few people waiting and walking around like this gentleman right here. But I do want to introduce you to Debbie here, who I was just speaking with. And when I told you what happened, what went through your head?
I am completely in shock about this. I mean, this is horrible. I'm at the airport, and these people apparently crashed with a BLACKHAWK, and there's 60 people on board the plane, and they're in the Potomac, and they're going now with emergency crew to find out what the circumstances are. They don't know if there's casualties or what's happening, but of course it's upsetting.
Absolutely. And what flight are you waiting for? Did you just land? What's your situation here?
I'm here early. I'm going to Midway Airport tomorrow, Chicago, for doctor's appointments, and I wound up checking out of my hotel early.
Brian Ricky donated $5 through Super Chat.
Early in the morning.
Absolutely heartbreaking.
So I didn't want to miss
Thinking
my flight.
of those poor people in that cold water.
I can't believe that this is happening. The whole airport is shut down. Is that correct?
Yes, no flights are leaving or coming in. And now, what's your plan with all of this going on?
I don't know. I absolutely don't know. I don't know if the flights are delayed and they'll be rescheduled for later tomorrow or what they're going to wind up doing. I have no idea.
And now, how often do you fly?
Well, I've had my cardiology team is in Chicago, and I've been back and forth to Chicago on a monthly basis, flying with Southwest successfully. They do a wonderful job. I really like the airline, and that's what I was planning on doing very early tomorrow morning, and now I just don't know.
And obviously right now we don't know, how many survivors there may or may not be, but just, what goes through your head knowing that, there's family members out there wondering what's happening with their loved one?
We have so much going on in this country right now with transition, and, I have been at the airport. I was here for the inauguration, and I, came to the airport, and I saw the president's plane fly in and out of here. I saw, I think it may have been Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, so this is like, they just left like the other day after being here for the inauguration. You could tell.
Well, Debbie, thank you for speaking with me. They're telling me that I have to send it back into the studio right now. And of course, when a briefing does happen here at Reagan National Airport, we'll bring it live to you right here on air.
At this hour, the information we're getting, again, from authorities is few and far between. Most of it is just thoughts and prayers from the likes of Mayor Muriel Bowser and many other lawmakers at this point. But we're still waiting to get concrete information on what happened.
Yeah, until we have that information and the details and the facts, it's hard. It's hard to even put into words how people are feeling right now. I know that as I look at, I'm getting text messages from people who are from Wichita, who are friends of mine. I fly that path often. I know it very well. It is just utter shock.
Yeah.
People are lost for words. What do you do at a time like this if you can't be there on the ground to help out in a situation like this? We do know that we are awaiting that briefing, but I know you mentioned, Jim, Senator Ted Cruz talked about monitoring the situation at DCA and how they will be briefed tomorrow morning. That is what they've been told, is that they are going to be given the very latest information from the FAA themselves. And but hopefully we're hoping that we will be able to get more information tonight, including any word of any survivors.
Yeah.
And people that have been rescued.
In terms of when we were talking with our aviation expert and talking about how rare these incidents are in our nation, it looks like we've had a number of crashes involving sightseeing planes. There were some. We've had a couple incidents where one or two passengers were killed. We've not had a large scale crash on really any runways in some time. I think the deadliest incident we've seen that I can think of in recent years was back in, gosh, it was a while back. It was in Buffalo. It was outside of Buffalo, New York.
There was one in Buffalo, and I thought there was one in North Carolina as well.
50, it was, by the way, February 12th, 2009, 50 people killed. Colgan Air Flight 3407 outside of Buffalo. That was from
North Carolina?
That was a Bombardier flight.
But I don't know.
All right, let's bring in Kenneth Moten. He's here in studio now, just miking up and getting ready to go.
No, I've been listening to you guys' conversation because it is stunning when you think about the safety record at DCA, and you think about the air travel in this country. It remains mostly safe, and we have to really search for incidents where we've had incidents of death, of these fatalities.
There's some new video here. Somebody posted it's captured on dash cam. Moment of impact. Dash cam footage from witness captures the exact second of the aircraft crash. Let's see here real quick.
Color is it? It's blue.
You see right there on the left. To play it again. That is crazy, man. Wow. Let me get this up on the big screen here. And let's listen to a little bit. Well, let's see. I don't know what you hear. Let's see.
BLACKHAWK helicopter. So we're confirming that, but again, no word on their condition. But that's just the information coming in. I just want to make sure we get that information out there.
And again, we've been telling people as soon as we know, we will let you know as well. But that is the word that Jim just relayed to us. 3 service members on that BLACKHAWK helicopter. Again, we're still trying to find out exactly how many passengers and crew were on flight 5342. Again, American Airlines, operated by PSA. Just because it has 70 seats obviously doesn't mean there were 70 passengers on that plane, but we're working to find out when it departed from Wichita how many people, how many souls were on that flight as the rescue operation, the massive rescue operation of the Potomac.
And they're saying that U.S. military says 3 soldiers were on board the helicopter. The BLACKHAWK, that's what they're saying now. Oh, shit. Oops. Oh, no. Shit, sorry. I lost it, my bad. Here it is. Hold on, let me get the link back up.
Talking about DCA, it is the nation's busiest airports and runways when it comes to the size of it and the fact that it is in the nation's capital, and we see about 800 flights in and out of DCA every single day. You do the math on that. Every minute you're seeing flights landing, taking off, and really there can be no room for error. And so when we talk about the safety record, it is stunning that it has been decades since we have seen a plane crash or something to this magnitude. We talk about Air Florida Flight 90 there, 43 years ago where that incident happened, and now it appears
saying the plane is underwater. Plane underwater.
Catastrophic situation here with this flight 5342. Again, as we try to learn more about this flight and we look into the safety records here, we know this is a very busy airport, this national airport here. This regional jet, this is a regional jet. The size of it is something that is normal for this airport. The air traffic is normal as well. But this incident happening where you have a helicopter, military helicopter, apparently colliding with this aircraft is something that we have not seen before here, especially ending the way that it has. But as we look at this flight aware here and we try to learn more and glean more from what we're seeing here on this map, we're looking more into the records, we're looking more into the safety records of this aircraft as well. And as we wait for the officials there here on the ground to give us more information, we will bring that to you guys as well. But that is what we're watching right now, guys, but we're just waiting for more information.
Hey, I want to point out, we're just getting information now from Metro. GM Randy Clark just sharing tonight that WMATA is going to run extra Silver Line trains. They're going to keep the Silver Line open to get people in from the Dulles area as well, you know, trying to facilitate people who might be stranded tonight. They're also sending buses down to warm up a lot of those first responders because, as mentioned, you know, the air is you know, 46 degrees at this hour, but we're still dealing with some very cold water situations as those first responders tend to the rescue efforts.
Yeah, and let's see here. We don't have a timetable as far
This
as like
is all
most of all
too
inbound
bizarre.
flights being held.
Military guy in NOLA.
At their origin
Military guy
until
in
5 a.m.
Cybertruck.
But we think
now
that
a military Black Hawk. Nah, something ain't right.
No, so I think somebody screwed up big time. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know how this happens in today's day and age. Such a huge catastrophe.
different groups there responding, and it's going to be like this all night. Getting in and out of it there's just no complete guarantee what time that can happen for you or your loved one. So, but we do have Sierra Fox in there. She's in the terminal, and so that'll be good. She can keep us posted on any new developments, and we can bring that information to you too, because we know there's still a lot of questions.
So, there's this guy too that made a post, Kyle Soliski. He said he took a video 6 days ago leaving the Reagan International Airport and thought it was kind of crazy seeing these choppers fly right next to us. I wonder if it was something like this that caused the collision tonight. So check this video footage out that he recorded, and you can see the choppers there. Cool view.
What I believe. I know we've been showing you a bunch of different cameras, but everything you're seeing on the camera right now is just two different vantage points of this huge response, this enormous response. All of our local agencies working together.
Report earlier this evening, I should say, a young man came up to us and he said, "I saw it." And we wanted to be able to show you kind of his sound. He's left since now. He's really trying to. You could tell when you looked at him, he's a little bit shell shocked in this whole incident, and he really wanted to express sort of how in awe he was of what happened. But you know, in the moments, this is what he told us. If we can play that sound about what Jimmy Maisel saw earlier tonight, take a listen.
So tonight, I was just with my girlfriend at the park, at Gravelly Point Park, right next to Reagan National Airport, and we were eating dinner, you know, just as normal, taking in the nice views, and we noticed the planes started having regular patterns, and they all kind of dispersed from their regular landing patterns, and then we looked up in the sky before that, and we saw these white flare.
What were you thinking when you saw these white flares?
We didn't think much of it. We thought they were like shooting stars. I don't know. I couldn't really explain it, but we didn't really think much of it until we saw the fire trucks start going out to the tarmac and the police cars and the police boats. It was insane. It was really insane.
What can you, I mean, for people who didn't see it, what did you feel as you're watching all this happen?
I felt very curious. I wondered what the giant response was for. I was just like waiting for the answer. So I was very like on edge, you know, trying to find out.
And now have you kind of heard a little more about, we're kind of getting details coming out. What is it, to your understanding, that you've heard is what's going on?
From my understanding, it's that a American Airlines flight came into contact or had a crash with a military helicopter right before landing. So
Who's telling you that? Was there any?
I think it was released by the FAA.
Oh, my question is, you know, you were at Gravelly Point. Like, I mean, this has just changed the whole night. What do you think about all this as you're kind of standing here looking at all the response going on?
I'm really just in awe. Of course, it's terrible what happened tonight, but I think that it's crazy that we got to experience what happened tonight. But I'm, you know, praying for all the people that were involved in this. So.
Are you going through your head trying to think about what you saw? Now you remember you seeing the flares? Like,
yeah.
Tactical Soap Scum donated $4.99 through Super Chat. The people deciding already that this was a conspiracy or a terrorist attack or something need to take a deep breath. Occam's razor says accident.
Yeah, no, I agree. But people are pushing it. I'm gonna play a clip to see if I can find it.
And then, like, shortly thereafter, all the police cars and fire trucks just started flooding on the tarmac and on the airport.
Yeah, so as we're over here, and while you were hearing Jimmy's sound, I noticed something happening over here at Reagan Airport. There's a line of emergency crews and cars that are starting to head down the runway. Now remember, we're south of Reagan. Your terminal is to your left, but what you're seeing is a long line, if you can see it right there, of what look like large emergency vehicles headed that way in a straight line towards the edge of the runway here on the south portion tip of Reagan. No doubt we've actually seen sort of where the crash happened, which is off to the right of what you're seeing. That's sort of drawn down. At least we're seeing fewer and fewer boats out in the water over there, and more emergency crews heading to the south end of the Reagan runway. Now, we're working to learn more about that. Obviously, we have Simone back at the station working to work the sources to find out what this significant response means. Are they bringing in survivors? Are they bringing in things? What is that? We're going to keep working around here, talking to folks, trying to get a general sense of, their understanding of what's going on here. But like I said, this is, it's a cold night. This is the worst nightmare. This is a tragedy of epic proportions, it already looks like. We're just doing our best to figure out exactly how to make sense of what happened tonight on the Potomac. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Matt, talking about that response you saw there on the banks of the river, typically when you talk about these first responders and their training, they tell you they sort of station these vehicles right along the river where they assume they may find some of these folks, so that if they do recover someone, rescue someone from the water, they can take them to that ambulance right away and get them the treatment they need. So the rescue.
So somebody here is claiming they're saying the military Black Hawk that crashed into the American Airlines flight in Washington, D.C. was reportedly flying dark per ADSB exchange. The chopper was not broadcasting an ADSB signal at the time. I thought I did see people have it tracked. I have to look and see. I thought I saw some people have it on radar.
This is a huge, not just tragedy for the city, but really a tragedy for the nation. That
the plane fire command. The accident happened in the river. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river. It's east of the approach end of runway 33.
Is the airfield closed?
Yes, the airfield is closed.
Runways as well?
Yes, all runways are closed. Nobody's landing. No one's moving at all. It was probably out in the middle of the river. I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone. So I haven't seen anything since they hit the river, but it was a CRJ and a helicopter that hit. I would say maybe a half-mile off the approach end of 33.
Wow, it is stunning to hear her talk about that when she said she saw the collision and then it just wasn't there.
Oh, man.
Breaking news, and for those of you just tuning in at this hour, we can confirm American Airlines Flight 5342 with nonstop service from Wichita to Reagan National Airport collided with a military helicopter upon landing just before 9 o'clock this evening. The collision happening in the Potomac. The response was swift, but at this hour, unfortunately, we cannot tell you if anybody survived the crash. We don't have any idea how many people were on board that plane. However, those planes are generally configured to carry about 70 people. This is video from EarthCam that we've been showing you all evening long, the moment of impact, and you can see it right there, right at the center of your screen there, as another plane takes off right above it.
Yeah, so there you go. Not the one on the right, but down towards the middle of your screen.
Yeah.
There you go. You can see it right there. Also, we mentioned that President Trump was briefed on the situation, and he has now since released a statement about what he says, quote, is a terrible accident that just took place at Reagan National Airport. May God bless their souls, he said in the statement. And he thanked first responders. He also said that he's going to provide more details as they arise. So we do know, in addition to this being a Black Hawk helicopter, Army officials say that 3 people were aboard that chopper, but the official could not confirm their status as of yet.
Just checking in terms of the planes that are being halted. The terminals are open. The flights coming in have been halted. They're coming in from places like New York, Boston, Atlanta, Orlando, St. Louis, Houston, Chicago, Charlotte. So there are a lot of people at airports throughout the country stranded at their destinations or stranded at their origin points, trying to get into D.C. I'm curious if we had to deal with any flight diversions at this point, because you can imagine in a situation like this, perhaps planes that were en route were maybe sent somewhere else. But we can imagine the effect this is going to have on.
Okay, tagging something new here. Audio transcript from air traffic control in DC. Traffic control to the helicopter. Do you have CRJ in sight? The passenger aircraft. Fox says it appears there was a concern about whether the Black Hawk helicopter had seen the plane on final approach. Wow, there was somebody screwed up big.
Because we just got this from the Associated Press, and it's.
And over here in the caption here for this video that I'm playing, they're saying 4 people pulled from the river, but it doesn't say whether they're alive or deceased.
Says, quoting here in audio from the air traffic control tower around the time of the crash, a controller is heard asking the helicopter, quoting here, Pat 25, do you have the CRJ in sight? In reference, of course, to the passenger aircraft. Tower, did you see that? Another pilot is heard calling seconds after the apparent collision. The tower immediately began diverting other aircraft from Reagan. So it appears there was some concern going in as to whether the Black Hawk helicopter had seen or could see this plane that was clearly on final approach, Kyle.
That is correct.
Wow. And so on the right-hand side, there's this guy, apparently plane crash. His wife was on the plane?
Pulling her out of the river right now as we speak.
Wife was on the plane that crashed. Oh, man.
I can pray for him. Just praying to God.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
She texted me that they were landing in 20 minutes.
Can you show us a text message that you got from her?
Landing in 20 minutes. The rest of my text did not get delivered. That's when I realized something might be up.
Man.
That's when he realized something might be up, when he didn't get a response from his wife who was on that plane. I asked him about his wife. He said that she went to Wichita, Kansas for work, and that she always had a fear of flying, that she never really was comfortable. And tonight he is waiting desperately for answers. He's by his phone trying to talk with anyone that could potentially give him some information. I told him the little bit of information that we had and provided that to him. But you saw him along with another family member pacing this terminal, Terminal 2, trying to get answers about his wife that was on that American Airlines flight. Guys.
This is so paralyzing. Near Reagan National for most.
So they have confirmed, okay, the airline confirmed that 60 passengers and 4 crew members were on board. So 64 on board of the airline, and then I believe it's been confirmed that 3 people on the helicopter. Okay, so 64 total on board is what the confirmed number is, people on board the plane.
It's the most important thing. I can understand the curiosity. Yeah.
You know, with this literally being in your backyard, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And,
right.
And Gravelly Point being the place that everybody goes just to watch the planes come in and out. So, you know, I know a lot of engagements that happen there. I mean, that's a happy place. But tonight is not the night. And like we said, you know, staying with Fox 5 and staying with us and our team, we have our field of reporters that are going to be out there, our crews, and we are bringing you literally. We're linked up in our ear. People are talking to us as we're talking to you. We're looking up things. We're getting confirmation. We want to make sure that the information we pass along to you is correct. Again, we are not in the business of sitting here to speculate or to do a guessing game of what went wrong. We want to give you the information that matters right now and the information that can impact you. On a more immediate scale.
And I keep looking down to see what new information we might have coming in. There's really not a whole lot at this point. Hey, look, here's what I want to do at this point. So we had Kenneth over at the board a few moments ago. I'm wondering, can we bring Kenneth back into this here? Because on the right side of the screen, you're looking at FlightAware, and Kenneth has been looking at the landing path or the flight path over here. And we also get some information about where these planes are coming from. But let's go back. You were talking just about 20 minutes ago about what you were seeing from there. Let's give the people at home what you were seeing in your analysis.
Yeah, anybody can go to FlightAware.com. We use it as a resource here on many days when we're looking at when there's weather, there's severe weather, snowstorms, how many flights are impacted, where flights are coming from. You might even use it for a loved one if you are trying to find out more about their flight information and get real-time information about when are they going to land at one of our DMV airports. And so we went to FlightAware, and you can see this flight path. And the first thing we saw before we started seeing some of these incredible images that we see there on the Potomac of this rescue operation that's happening live, we saw this right here. We saw the flight path, a flight path that is very typical for any regional jet that's coming into DCA, which, again, one of the busiest airports in this nation, that sees anywhere from 600 to 800 flights taking off, landing.
Let's see here, CNN clip.
Mary, I have one more question for you. Look, it's January 29th. We are just 9 days out from a presidential transition, an administrative transition. The FAA administrator resigned at the end of the Biden administration, so there is no permanent confirmed FAA administrator right now. This is going to be a time when there's going to be a lot of public communication and a lot of investigation of what happened here. What do you anticipate this transition period is going to mean for what happens today and tomorrow and in the coming days as we find out what happened here?
I guess it's Trump's fault. All right, let's see what's going on here. Dozens of firefighters involved in dive operations. Trying to get the latest updates here, see what's going on. They said they were supposed to do a press briefing too, but who knows exactly when that's going to happen. Maybe they're going to try to push it back.
If we zoom out here, we can, again, as we reset, Flight 5342 American Air.
Where everyone's trying to come to grips with what they saw, and in the meantime, we have a massive rescue response, a mass casualty response, as it were, across the Potomac, all the way up from Reagan National down to almost the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. So we're kind of keeping an eye on this as it's developing. But like I said, it's been changing over the last hour to an hour and a half in terms of where the boats are headed to, where the ambulance and emergency vehicles are going to, and we're trying to get a better idea, hopefully soon, of what, if any, survivors they're able to find from this. And when we do, we'll bring it to you. And of course, we're going to be on the scene, continue to document this as it goes. Guys, back to you in the studio.
Many people are desperate for some hope tonight, desperate for some answers. We are hearing more about how, what happened. We just don't know the how. We're learning that BLACKHAWK helicopter was based out of Fort Belvoir, Virginia. And we're also hearing from the president again
That's
tonight.
right. We just got a statement a short time ago from President Trump saying, I have been fully briefed on the terrible accident which just took place at Reagan National Airport. May God bless their souls. Thank you for the incredible work being done by our first responders. I am monitoring the situation and will provide more details as they arrive. Again, that is statement tonight from President Trump.
Yeah, we've been talking about just the vast, huge response to this catastrophe on the water. And our colleague Leslie Moreno is at the DC Police helicopter pier on South Capitol. Leslie, what are you hearing? What are you hearing about what's happening there?
Hey guys, yeah, we are about 3.5 miles north from that crash site. We are currently on South Capitol, that very busy roundabout here. I'm not sure if you can see here behind me, but this is the MPD, as you mentioned, aviation and boat support headquarters. You can see here we have crews both on the ground, and I don't know if you can hear, but in the air as well. This is where we believe this is the location where those victims will be brought in. No word.
Raw Alert said that we're seeing numerous false reports claiming a missile or drone was involved. This is not true. The FAA and emergency officials have confirmed that a military helicopter had collided with an American Airlines jet. Once again, no drones or missiles were involved. Some people are thinking it's more than that. It can't be. How can this happen? Oh, man, yo. 2025 has just been something else. And that Florida flight that they keep talking about, It was a Florida flight that it took place in, it says on January 13, 1982. Boeing 737 registered as N62AF crashed into the 14th Street Bridge over the Potomac River just after taking off from Washington National Airport. Striking the bridge, which carries Interstate 395 between Washington, D.C. and Arlington County, Virginia, it hit 7 occupied vehicles and destroyed 97 feet of guardrail before plunging through the ice into the Potomac River. The aircraft was carrying 74 passengers and 5 crew members. Only 4 passengers and 1 crew member survived or were rescued from the crash and survived. This is from back then, 1982. So they keep referencing this flight, Air Florida, that I guess crashed in that area. And yeah.
Where all of these emergency responders are scattered throughout our region. You can see everyone is involved here, from DC Police, U.S. Park Police, Prince George's County Police, the U.S. Coast Guard. So everyone is involved in this search and rescue effort right now.
It's also telling about how vast the debris field is. And we've talked about this for hours now. We've not seen where these aircraft went down, right? It's obviously dark. The water is deep. It's dank. There's a huge effort to try to find it. But when those 2 aircraft collided, that debris didn't just go into one area.
Right.
So they really do need all of these first responders across these jurisdictions to fan out.
Searching everywhere.
To search everything. Yeah.
All right, we want to get to our Simone D'Alba now. She's been in the newsroom all night monitoring updates there. Simone, any updates for us?
Yeah, guys, I've been working my sources. The news desk is hard at work trying to bring us some answers. And I did want to tell you, we just got video into our newsroom of the collision from EarthCam. And I wanted to show that to you, knowing full well how sensitive this is and how many loved people are, so worried about their loved ones at this moment. We just heard from Larry at the airport. If you watch this closely, you see the planes one of them banks down, and you see the collision. It all unfolds very, very quickly. Again, this is courtesy of EarthCam. And we know earlier today we've been seeing witnesses just speaking out, and they've been saying, look, they talked about a stream of sparks they saw after watching that plane bank right. And a lot of people saw this from the George Washington Parkway. People saw this as they were making their way home from work this evening. And again, we do have this video now just into our newsroom. I wanted to tell you that we are learning the U.S. Army BLACKHAWK helicopter had a crew of 3. We do know that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has said the Department of Defense is monitoring developments. He said they are poised to assist if needed. He did say prayers for all.
Okay, so according to this person, raw reporting, they're saying that according to the police scanner updates, 12 bodies, 7 male and 5 female, have been recovered from the river and taken to a casualty collection point following the plane crash. Oh man. So I don't know about the 4 survivor thing yet. This seems like a lot of misconstrued reports. And they're saying the temperatures of the water, 35 degrees. So according to this person, it says in such conditions, survival is estimated 30 to 90 minutes. But the news reporter had said like 15 minutes before you go unconscious. Just trying to like survive and swim in that water, I guess. Bad conditions. Wow. Let's check out the scanner for a little bit for a few. Let's see what's going on over there. Let me refresh this. Just want to see if we get any raw updates from the scanner. Because there's, let's see, there's a lot of people listening in. There's 52,000 people listening into the scanner. Let's check out a little bit of what's going on here. Of course, nothing now, right?
Bravo contact. Last word.
Audio between PAT-25 and DCA Tower asking if they have The CRJ in sight affirms and requests visual separation.
Calling up. That's definitely going to get busy, but I got a PIREP, so I have to report it, sir. The runway 30 windsock is unlit. I'll put a finding in for it. If you have time, can you please produce the NOTAM number for me when available? Okay, Brad's taking my spot. I'll brief him on it here in a second.
Man, I can't imagine people that have family on that flight just waiting. Let's see what the updates are here on the website.
David 24.
So the Coast Guard is deploying every available
24, I
resource.
got a door alarm, gate Delta 7, showing forced open. On a playback, it was a cleaner ADM coming off the ramp with a bag of trash. Southeast. That's that elevator door again. Are you in any need of anything at the shore there for the personnel operating?
Negative. I got a guy from airport operations who was going to work on food and drink. I would still like to release half of this assignment. I'll give me permission, please.
Some people are asking who was on the flight. Somebody just commented, forgot what she just said. 10:40 p.m. We're going to need to get the morgue up and running. Police referring to the mobile morgue at the Mass Casualty Collection Center. Let's see what else she said here. So they're saying that they try to avoid the crash. Let's see here. Audio between the PAT-25 and DC Tower. Asking for separation. Let's see.
S25, get the CRJ in flight. S25, pass on this CRJ.
This club has an aircraft in flight for separation.
Separation. Second 472, Washington Star, 1 star, 32017. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250, claim Anthony 3000.
So what is the situation at this airport? Were they short-staffed? Or was it a pilot error? Let's see the Regan. Staffing relief concerning operations at Ronald Reagan. That was June 2024.
Can you run a Louisiana tag to verify the registered owner?
Okay, what do you need help with? Hey, Brian, can you get behind this train that I have with me? Make sure everybody crosses with me, please. Coming at you. There should be American tug all the way at the end.
You know, if we switch, I'll let you know.
Okay, I'm good. Okay. I've got a plan to cycle crews through so that not everybody is working at one time. And we'll just kind of keep rolling through that.
Okay, if you have any more needs, let me know.
Fox reporting, Caroline. Carolyn, let me see. I'm going to look into that. Let's check that out.
Umar, just make sure you advise Tower that we need a gap to get this across, okay?
Yep, they are aware of it. Thank you.
Louisiana, ma'am.
Officer.
Doors showing held open.
Caroline just posted 30 minutes ago.
Well, Stu, we do have another aircraft on the east side that's going to be taxiing over to Wisconsin now.
Okay.
Roger.
David sent me a clip. Number of deceased is at 14.
Rodriguez, Montero.
Just one owner, ma'am.
Seconds.
Yes, it's showing one owner. Lucia Rodriguez, Lopez.
Copy, thank you.
Play this clip here.
EMS branch, EMS 201.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, another boat is departed. Total offload has been 14.
All right, I'm direct. 14.
EMS branch, EMS 201.
Well. Okay, 11:30 presser. Okay, thanks. Fine. Okay, so press conference is coming up. Okay.
And if you are and you hear about this, more than likely that's not going to happen. We know that some flights that were set to land at Reagan tonight have been diverted to Dulles. WMATA is helping there with a few warming buses for some of the folks who may be landing there or trying to make their way into the district. We know the extra trains are running on the Silver Line tonight as well to get some folks back into the city.
We're still waiting to find out more about this BLACKHAWK helicopter, but as we show you the name of it and the kind of helicopter it is, we have a spokesperson for the maker that has released a statement saying, and we're quoting here, "We are aware of the incident and we send our condolences to those affected. We have offered our support to the investigation and our customer. Safety is our top priority." Safety is our top priority, they say.
Yeah, so again, they are, while we look at this search and rescue operation on the Potomac River, you can see to the upper left-hand side of your screen, we have some light there on the Potomac. Again, we were saying how dark it is out there and how that is also complicating their efforts. You can.
Jack O'Neill, thank you for the tag, Marie. Jack O'Neill. Oh, he's saying that, let's see. First, Reagan has only one primary runway, which parallels the river, north-south. It does have two secondary runways, which are for shorter and tend to only take regional jets. Second, from the looks of it appears that the plane was landing on the secondary runway from the south, meaning it was basically flying up the Potomac River to the north. Third, just before landing, planes typically turn to align with the secondary runway at a low altitude. Fourth, that turn takes place to the southeast of the airport, an area that tends to have a lot of helicopter traffic, including military helicopters flying from the area. Fifth, the use of the secondary runway isn't super common. Most planes land on the primary north-south runway. I wonder why they didn't go for the primary runway. The DCA airspace is insanely busy, and flights taking off have to contend with a very strict no-fly zone over the capital, necessitating the river approach from the north and a quick turn when departing to the north. 7th, given all the factors and the fact that there was a bad near collision in 2024 because of the confusion between the primary and the secondary runways, I wouldn't be surprised if the helicopter and plane overlapped in an area the ATC controller doesn't focus on nearly as much. And this is like a screenshot that they have from flight. It looks like flight radar. So we're waiting on the press conference to be coming up soon. For all of those who haven't seen it, DC nearly had a bad accident last year.
JetBlue 1554, watch star, runway 4, line up and wait, traffic lands, runway 1. Line up and wait, runway 4, JetBlue 1554.
Near disaster takeoff and taxiing planes almost crash at Washington
Southwest 2937, taxi Alpha.
Southwest 2937, Washington ground, give way to the American Airbus left to right, runway 1, taxi via Kilo Charlie, cross forward Charlie, pull over to the right, tower on the other side.
All right, after American, going to 1.
The airport sounds like a hot mess.
Kilo Charlie, cleared cross forward, let's stay to the right, Southwest 2937.
American 713, contact on departure, okay, flight.
Switch to departure, American 713, good day.
Southwest 2830, traffic departs off to the left. This is traffic zone at 6 Mile Final. Runway 1, line up and wait.
Runway 1, line up and wait, Southwest 2830.
JetBlue 1554, traffic pulls off your right. Wind calm, runway 4, cleared for takeoff.
Oh, hell no. Nah. Look at this shit. So this happened just last year at the same airport.
Blue Street 5226, left turn at November behind the Embraer, ground point 7.
Left turn November behind the Embraer, ground point 7, Blue Street 5226.
Stop. Stop, Southwest 2937,
oh my God.
We stopped, we were cleared to cross runway 4.
And we're stopped, JetBlue 1554.
Holy ish.
Southwest 2830, runway 1, clear for takeoff.
Runway 1, clear for takeoff, Southwest 2830.
JetBlue 1554, do you have room to get around the Southwest or even double back onto runway 4 full length?
Looks like we can make a left on Alpha, JetBlue 1554.
Thank you, sir. JetBlue 1554, left Alpha, back to Zulu, short of runway 4 and advise ready.
Auto make.
Okay, left on Alpha, Zulu, short of runway 4. We'll let you know, JetBlue 1554.
Ground Southwest 2937.
Oh, geez, what is that? Oh. It's not that. Oh, it's this one here. What are they doing? They shut me down? Oh, let me mute it for you guys so at least you don't have to deal with that. What in the heck? Let's see. They stopped. What the hell? They were bombing everybody. I have no idea where the audio was coming from. But this is that flight was really crazy to see on this video how close of a collision they had, and it seemed like they were cleared to go.
And continue across runway 4 at Charlie.
Okay, clear across runway 4 at Charlie, 2937.
Oh my God.
JetBlue 1554, how much longer do you guys need just for planning purposes? You are fine right there. No one else is coming from behind. Do as you need and call me back. Brickyard 5682, ground point 7, bye-bye.
Ground point 7, bye-bye, Brickyard 5682. Tower South 2937, I guess we need a phone number to call you later.
Oh, yes, of course. Let me know when you have the pen ready.
Go ahead.
703-413. And then when prompted, press 1, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, well, this airport seems like a hot mess. What's this now? Approximate aircraft positions at the moment both aircraft stopped. Okay, both aircraft stopped at about 90 meters, 300 feet from each other. Wow. Okay. Place sounds like a hot mess.
If anybody survived, we've been hearing reports. And right now, we've talked with a passenger, somebody who is standing by at Reagan National Airport, which, by the way, is closed. All inbound flights being held until at least 5 a.m. Let's take a listen.
We got boarded on the plane, and maybe 20 minutes later, a crew member came in and said that there had been an issue, and we're going to have the airport is closed, and it probably will be closed for at least the next 2 hours, and they wanted everybody to deboard the plane. We waited to see what would change, and later they let us know that the airport was closed for the rest of the night, and maybe tomorrow as well. They also let us know what was going on, that there seemed to have been a military helicopter that crashed with a plane, but we didn't really hear too many details from that. And it's kind of different than what I've been hearing on the news, so we're not really sure.
When you were on the plane, you said you looked out the window. What did you see?
I saw about probably like along the river, a little further out from the airport. You can see 2, 3, maybe 4 blocks of just lights all the way down.
Does this worry you since you were on a plane and when this all goes down?
It worried me quite a bit. And my wife was really concerned, and she's like, you should just get out of that airport, go somewhere, stay at a hotel, and leave from another airport tomorrow.
So it's being said also that the U.S. Army Black Hawk that collided with a passenger plane on Wednesday was on a training flight at the time of the incident. Joint Task Force National Capital Region Media Chief Heather Scherz tells CNN, "We can confirm that the aircraft involved in tonight's incident was an Army UH-60 helicopter from Bravo Company, 12th Aviation Battalion out of Davison Army Airfield, Fort Belvoir during a training flight. We're working with local officials and will provide additional information once it becomes available." So they're saying the helicopter was on a training flight tonight. Okay. It's already past 11:30.
Expected to be briefed by the FAA Thursday morning, tomorrow morning. We don't know exactly when that will be. Hopefully, us as the media and these families will be briefed before that with what they know. What we can tell you, though, is what is evident through what you see on your screens right here, and that is everybody in this area that has the power to help out in the situation and try to find more people and save more lives is out and about and doing what they can. The FBI joining the search and rescue, the response in this crash. The U.S. Coast Guard out in full force. We know the Maryland State Police, they have deployed their divers. They are in that frigid water right now, the frigid Potomac, here at the scene of the helicopter and plane collision. We still don't know how much. If both aircrafts are submerged in the water, it's really hard because it is so dark, and that adds to it complicates things and the amount of danger. It increases the danger factor here, and obviously visibility a big factor. Dozens of firefighters also joining in those dive operations. So we got a lot of people on the ground that you can see, but we also have a lot of people in the water as well, working to do everything that they can in their power right now to bring survivors to safety.
You know, as we mentioned before, all this came in tonight, right around in the news around 9 o'clock, and you know, initial reports come in that it was a small crash. Then we heard the helicopter was involved. Then there was conflicting reports of where the helicopter was coming from, and that's really situations like this. This is just how breaking news works, and we often hope all this information comes in, and we just hope it's overblown, and that's generally what we were hoping for, regardless.
Me too.
As we sit here and we're waiting just with so many of you to get some answers on this. We are going to remain on the air, it appears, through the evening into the morning. The morning crew will be joining us in a couple of hours because once we get those initial reports and once we get the initial information, then comes obviously the impacts it's going to have on air travel in and out of D.C. And I realize that is not the most important thing to talk about. No. Talk about people flying out, but regardless, this is the nation's capital.
So it's being reported, according to the scanner, supposedly, that the scanner, rescue workers have located multiple passengers underwater, still sitting in their seats. Wow. Rescue workers have located multiple passengers underwater, still sitting in their seats.
Reached out to Governor Youngkin, Mayor Bowser, Laura Kelly, who's the governor of Kansas, and Jennifer Homendy, who's the National Transportation Safety Board chair. They're all going to work together on this. But as far as information that we are getting from a district standpoint, D.C. police have sort of taken over. Speaking for DC Fire and EMS, they were the initial responders. In fact, it was DC Fire and EMS that initially put out the reports confirming that a collision happened. But you know, the numbers you've seen on the screen, it's 64 on the plane, 60 passengers, four crew members, and 3 soldiers on board that military helicopter.
Yeah, which was, I believe, out of Belvoir, right? I believe they were connected to Belvoir. That was, let's see here. They said they did. Yeah, it was a UH-60 helicopter out of Fort Belvoir. So,
and that's the thing. We're sharing with you the information that we have confirmed and what we know. But again, you know, these are coming from reputable sources, including from American Airlines, which they had said that they will be doing some sort of public announcement a little bit later on. But that seems to be, well, there was never really a time frame put on it in the first place.
No. First and foremost, I mean, the most important thing right now is trying to bring these people to safety, trying to save as many lives as possible. And that really is where the focus is right now. Going forward, the way it will probably play out, if you were to look at it on paper and you look at how things have played out in history, is that the NTSB, which has already taken the lead here on this crash investigation, will lead the charge. And the FAA will weigh in and assist in any way, also review safety regulations. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, we talked about Air Florida from, 40 years ago. That significantly changed the way airliners and airports did business when it came to how they dealt with winter weather and flying in and out of winter weather. And it changed protocols, and who knows if this is going to have the same effect and impact and will lead to, you know, future regulations, because we simply just don't know why it happened at this point, and if, you know, what could have made it avoidable. But more light will be shed on it once we do have access to the information provided by the black box, the flight data, and of course the cockpit voice recorder and the chatter that we're going to find on there that might be able to reveal more information about what led up to it, analyze the cause. Then you've got the witnesses, then you've got the pilots, then you have the air traffic controllers. A lot of voices, a lot of pieces to this puzzle that need to be put together. But again, right now our focus is on let's try to.
The Associated Press now saying that Reagan National Airport's closed until 5 a.m. on Friday. That coming down from the Associated Press just 6 minutes ago. So the airport is now closed until 5 a.m. on Friday. That news just coming in by way of the AP. As we've been talking about this in terms of the situations we've seen in the sky in the past, I want to bring in Nana St. Yobonsu, who is live now inside the airport near those boards and speaking with people. And I just want to point something out, Nana, before we come to you. And this is something, as I look over your shoulder and I see Fred Rogers, and he said something I remember as a kid, which is look for the helpers. And there are a heck of a lot of helpers out there tonight trying to bring some peace to a lot of families, and the helpers out there, we thank them for their service. Nana, what can you tell us?
Yes, Jim. So right now we are inside the airport. We're on the ticketing.
So now we're seeing David, thank you for the clip here on the scanner audio. Saying count is up to 18. Let's see.
I know you're working on the rundown, but I need a true hard count of people brought to the shore.
1818.
And we're certain of this number.
Double check and triple check.
18.
I know you're working on the rundown, but I need a true hard count of people brought to the shore.
1818.
And we're certain of this number.
So 18 count according to the scanner. And so we know that there was confirmed 64 people on the flight. So that would be still 46 people missing if the scanner audio is correct. We said 19 now in the chat. So 45 or 46 people still missing. It's a lot of people.
Is DC still obviously very active. We have fire, we have police. As we've been saying, this is a multi-agency effort, everyone coming together just to help. You mentioned helpers, but that's the situation in the airport. It is closed off, but there are a number of people here just trying to figure out what is next. How do they get home? Obviously people are like, how do I get rebooked, reassigned? Not everyone is from here. So, we're still walking the terminal, speaking to people, but a lot of people, one, very emotional about what happened. One woman said, could have been their plane that was taking off or trying to land, right? And just trying to get some answers while we're up here. But I know we mentioned earlier, the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority says stand by for a statement right now. That briefing has been put on hold, but media is being sent to a specific location in the airport. So that's why I'm assuming there will still be some kind of update if they're sending us to an area. But right now we're just in the terminal, walking around, trying to get some answers, trying to find people to speak with. But again, because of this emergency situation, all flights are being held. No flights are taking off and no flights are landing. So a lot of questions and uncertainty here. But I mean, we have passengers, like, just take a look, just walking, trying to figure it out. There were people coming to look at the boards, but when they look at the boards, it says, due to an emergency situation, there's not much that they can do. A lot of people looking for questions today. So let me ask her something. Excuse me, are you traveling? Are you taking off?
I'm a journalist.
Oh, you're a journalist? She's a journalist, okay. But yes, just trying to get an idea of everyone that's in here right now. Jim?
Nana, let me ask you this, and I know you showed the boards there, and that's really as much information as we're getting out there. We have from the AP that they said things are going to be closed, that no flights are out until 5 a.m. I've not seen, I want to point out, I said that because the Associated Press had reported that. I'm not seeing that anywhere from any official airport channels. So if you get a chance, next time we talk to you, if you hear from anybody, because right now everything's saying 5 a.m. tomorrow, but it looks like we may see the airport closed until Friday. So that's the one question I think we're all...
Okay. And this is the airport from the map. That's the airport right here. Okay. So it's not like this, you don't have all these runways. I would assume this is the main one. Maybe this one around here, and then you have your side ones, your two side ones. This is kind of weird, bro. This is like crisscross. I guess, I don't know. But this is it right here. The airport. Here's the river.
Not just about the air conditions, but the water temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
Because the water temperatures, according to buoys out there, were so cold, and the temperatures were so cold, it does not lend itself well to surviving in the water for long periods of time.
No. That is really what is going to increase the danger here.
Yeah, so here's the audio for 19 individuals brought to shore.
I know you're working on the rundown, but I need a true hard count of people
So
brought
19.
to the shore.
1818.
Oh, he said 1-8. I heard 1-8. I don't know, it's saying 1-9 over here, but
And we're certain of this number.
Double check and triple check.
Gamers branch for me, that's 201.
201, go.
okay.
Just
All right.
offloaded.
K-Dubs, thank you so much. You seeing all this craziness? My gosh.
The question is,
was everybody doing the things they needed to do for operating in that airspace at the time.
Greg, you hear me? This is Topper, meteorologist Topper Shutt. A question now, and this is something that I'm just throwing out to you. Is it possible that the helicopter was below the radar and that's why the avoidance system didn't work?
Well, Topper, the big thing here is, aircraft, civilian aircraft have a transponder. That transponder puts out a discrete code or a generic code. If you're general aviation, it all depends on the type of flight operation and your contact with air traffic control. In this case, the CRJ would have been on a very discrete transponder code. That code is an electronic signal. The air traffic controller picks it up on radar, and that particular code has a data tag to it. So it identifies, in this case, it would identify the aircraft flight number by flight number. It would have a ground speed and an altitude tag to it. If it's TCAS, Traffic Collision Avoidance System, and I'm in my airplane reads that same data tag, and I can now see my position relative to that airplane. Military aircraft don't necessarily have the same equipment. They don't necessarily operate or use, or have to use in some cases, a transponder. So they should show up as what's called a primary target, where it's really a skin paint. The radar spins, it blasts out its signal. The return signal is, yes, there's something out there, but it is not specifically identified. That is going to be part of the investigation. Was the controller aware of the position? Were they watching that? Was it identified as just a primary? And was somebody watching the collision avoidance? Because, again, there is a collision avoidance aspect to this in the tower at Reagan, as well as in the cockpit of the regional jet.
And I guess, I think you mentioned this earlier, that, I mean, there was no way the jet could have taken any kind of maneuver to avoid the, I mean, he was on final approach, would you say 400 feet above the ground, that's it. I mean, he can do a touch and go, but he can't do a mid-air maneuver. The only possibility would have been the helicopter could have maybe avoided it, but I don't see how the jet could have, correct?
Well, it's too early to tell, because, again, if the helicopter struck the back end of the aircraft, then the pilots in the regional jet would have had no possibility of knowing what was happening behind them. If the helicopter was passing in front of them or approaching from the left or from the right at an angle that would have put the aircraft in front of the pilots, then you would expect that they would just naturally try to take some sort of evasive action. They may have still collided. And we've had mid-air collisions like that where the aircraft had approached and actually struck the front end of each aircraft, and the pilots tried to take evasive action. But when you look at the video, it doesn't look like either the helicopter or the regional jet are moving off their flight path in a very dramatic way that we would characterize as evasive action.
I guess what I'm saying is, had he taken evasive action, I don't think he could have kept the plane in the air, is what I'm trying to say. When you're on that last part of your approach and you're that low, I mean, you could probably swerve, but I don't think you're going to be able to land the plane anywhere else, correct? He would have gone down.
No, again, evasive action is a very generic term. If I know that the aircraft is approaching and I know that it's going to be lower than me, then I'm going to power up and pull up. I may bail off and try and roll the airplane to the left or the right to avoid the collision. Same with the helicopter. If it caught their eye at the last minute, they may have tried to roll the aircraft to the left or to the right. Doesn't mean they're going to dive into the water immediately. The evasive action is left or right or up and down.
So, Greg, you have this huge passenger jet. If you're talking about this military helicopter just, going in front of the jet, I mean, how do you miss something like that, even though it's so dark out?
Well, again, that is going to be, I think, one of the first questions that really needs an answer is, what were the actual positions? They'll be able to look at the radar data, and hopefully the military aircraft is either squawking the transponder code with a tag, or even if it comes back as a primary target, they'll be able to see, just based on the flight path of both aircraft, how this accident at least started as far as the sequence of events. Because if it looks like the helicopter was trying, or at least positioned to pass behind the regional jet, then you have to look at, well, what were the military pilots looking at that they didn't see this aircraft that they were approaching? You can then say that the RJ pilots would have never known that the helicopter was trying to pass behind them, other than maybe an air traffic control communication.
K_Dubs donated $10 through Super Chat. Mel, what you do for this community is hard and much appreciated. Purple heart, purple heart.
Gracias, K-Dubs.
Same frequency. So there are a lot of questions just with that one aspect that can shed some light and really give a path for the investigation. And that's why radio communication, radar data, and then the recovery of the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. Because, again, the cockpit voice recorder, you may have the
Garden Girl 9 donated $10 through Super Chat. Thanks so much, Mel.
Garden Girl, thank you so much for the 10. So I was looking on here online. Thank you. It says the TCAS can potentially avoid a collision between a plane and a helicopter if both aircraft are equipped with transponders and are within detection range. So I don't know what just like this guy was saying, I don't know what the situation with the helicopter was. That's like a automatic system that like will tell you, I forgot the sound, or it'll tell you collision, or it'll tell you to go up or go down or whatever. It'll tell you, there's something, you're about to crash, you're lined up to hit somebody. But I don't know, maybe the helicopter didn't have the technology on there, or maybe they just didn't have their transponder on, or whatever the situation is. And it was a training flight.
When they're, last minute checklists, they're getting prepared to touch down, and then something catastrophic happens, and they don't know what's going on, other than the fact that they've lost control of the aircraft.
Greg, before we let you go, I can't let this moment leave us. It's been 3 hours almost to the moment that the explosion happened, indicating there was this awful midair collision between the passenger jet and the BLACKHAWK helicopter. 3 hours of this search going on to find any survivors. Tell us about the reality of this now.
Traffic.
Oh, you're right. Traffic. You were saying that. Somebody said that in the chat. Traffic. Pats, yeah.
Descend. Climb now. Climb now. Clear of conflict.
So there's an alert like that. I guess that didn't happen in this situation. There was some radio traffic, though. It seemed like someone knew of somebody. They were asking for visual separation. Multiple victims underwater in seats that won't be got until daybreak, as conditions are dangerous. Okay, check this out. David sent me the clip. Let's check this out here.
Go ahead. Extrication equipment will not be needed until daybreak at this location. It's too dangerous. We also have multiple under the water in seats that will not be able to be recovered until daybreak. Okay. Go ahead.
Wow. So multiple people underwater in their seats.
And that, of course, is subject to change, and we will keep you posted on that. In the meantime, Sierra, she is in the terminal, and she says that all but a few passengers and personnel are still in there. But we saw with Nana, there were some that said they can't leave, that they couldn't find a way out. They couldn't get access to their Uber. They're pretty much stranded there. So we'll see if their conditions change, over time. But what is good.
And Rollins just posted this now. He said he was sent this anonymously, and it shows the playback. Oh, by the way, the presser apparently is pushed back to 12:30, so 30 more minutes. They've pushed it back from what I heard. Shared to me anonymously shows the playback from official air traffic control radar. Watch as exclusive playback sent anonymously by AV Geek Jake to Raw Alerts. Okay. Reveals official air traffic control radar footage displaying the collision alert. This alert is not for an imminent collision, but serves as a tool to draw heightened attention from the controllers to potential risks. The footage then captures the critical moment when both aircraft collided, emphasizing the urgency of the controller's split-second decisions. The radar data provides a detailed view of the events leading up to the crash, offering valuable insight into the sequence of actions and how the situation ultimately unfolded. Sorry.
Nicolette Moore donated $5 through Super Chat. Did you see the crash? I just came in. I don't know if you showed it. It looked oddly intentional.
I did, Nicolette. Thank you so much. I did. These are them right here. You can see. Look, it's I guess so. When it first starts, it's like this, and then when it gets they get closer. I don't know how they got this footage. This is interesting. Then you see the CA. Maybe that means collision alert. I guess collision alert. And I mean, you don't have much time from there. Wow, dude. And it sounds like you just hear like background
Shelly
talking.
Smith donated $5 through Super Chat. New sub. Love your multiple
thank you, Shelly. Appreciate
simultaneous
it.
source coverage of this horrible incident.
Appreciate that, Shelly. Thank you. Okay. I'm just seeing new information come up. Civilian boats join search and rescue. Civilian boats
on the water, that there was a call put out for any vessels in the area to aid in this search and rescue. And in fact, there are private vessels out in this search grid right now helping to assist first responders. And I don't know if we're able to push in on it, but we see one of those large white double-decker tour boats that you see so frequently going up and down, particularly along the National Mall and out of the Southwest waterfront. And we can see at least one of those tour boats out in the river assisting with this search and rescue. So this search and rescue goes beyond just first responders. The call was to put out to any boats on the water in the area at the time to come and lend assistance.
True,
and
Brittany,
indeed,
you're right.
we're seeing that it's at least some heeded that call and are out there. And again, now I count three helicopters above us searching this shoreline. Again, as you pointed out, right along Joint Base Anacostia Bowling. So that's the very latest here. Back to you.
So they got civilian boats to put out a call for anybody to help.
Training mission. And it means there's an instructor pilot and a brand new pilot, and that's nothing wrong with that at all. Training takes place all the time. But were they distracted, and did they misunderstand the air traffic controller's instructions to stay away from the path of the incoming CRJ 700? And so there's where the first mistake could have taken place there, because the blades of the helicopter went through the CRJ 700. And also the CRJ 700 has what's called TCAS on it, Traffic Collision Avoidance System. You get an oral warning through your headset and the speakers on the flight deck, and it tells you which direction to maneuver the airplane to avoid a mid-air collision. Obviously, it happened so fast that there was not enough time for the signal to be processed by the airplane's computers. And so the mid-air collision happened there. So what did the controller say, the air traffic controller at Reagan? And what did the military BLACKHAWK pilots understand? That will come out of the cockpit voice recorders. Of course, the same of the CRJ 700. But it happened so fast, I'm not sure you're going to get much information there. Unless you hear them talking, oh, there's a helicopter out there. And we'll find out about that once they recover the, what they call black box, is really orange, out of the Potomac River.
Yeah, because it's hard to tell from the video, right? You don't really see all that much from the video, but from what you can gauge, I mean, so many questions raised on whether or not the pilots had time to actually see each other, if they had the proper awareness. You answered my question about whether or not they were alerted through the that automation system that lets you know, hey, there's an airplane nearby. And I know that helicopters, Blackhawks in particular, they don't have that kind of mechanism in place like the airplanes do, but it sounds like, you know, they're...
Oh my God, where's that at? Well, let me save you guys first. Oh, there it is. Is that it? Aha! No more. Goodbye. No more of that. Oh, that's a video I was watching. All right, hold on. Let me get the other video back up. Sorry, guys. Oh, I guess they did it on all the stations. DC switch. Okay, we'll have to find another one. A press conference. All right, I was tagging in a new video too that's come out. Breaking. Another video shows moment passenger plane colliding with Army helicopter. This looks like from the airport. What it looks like. Wow. Incredible. So we're waiting on the presser to get started. And we're taking in any new information that comes in. Thank you guys for hanging out late with me. I've been working. I've been going to sleep early lately. I've been kind of like not staying up late. I've been trying to work on my sleep. But, you know, tonight with this crazy news, make the exception. I want to hear what they're going to say during this press conference first. You know, I want to see what update, official updates they can put out. So yeah, officially they're saying 12:30 is the press conference. So we have about maybe a little more than 20 minutes left for the press conference. Let me see what else we can pull up here. The FBI made a post 30 minutes ago. Please direct questions to the National Transportation and Safety Board. Okay. Looks like they're getting kind of set up there. Maybe mic test. Mic check. Last I heard, 19 people. It's got to be eerie. I can't imagine for the people that are like, I don't know, the divers that are going into that plane and going into the water, the dark, murky, cold water, getting to the bottom, getting into the plane, and you just see these people still in their seats, deceased. You know, what killed them? Was it just like the impact or the water? I guess probably the impact, I guess. Who knows? Let's see what they're saying here. Three debris fields. Wow. Gotta be so eerie, man. Let's see what embassy's saying here. IMC, you still up here with me? Dang. The heli went to 200 feet and back up to 300 feet just before the collision. They collided at 300 feet. It looked like the CRJ descended into the BLACKHAWK. The CRJ was at 500 feet. The heli went to 200 feet and back up to 300 just before the collision. Dang. That's true too. I didn't think about that. Booth scat. Maybe yeah. Some people probably knocked out by the collision, the explosion. Clip the back part. And the plane was landing. Yeah, the plane was landing. No audio yet on the pressure there. I guess they're getting set up. Some chopper feed though.
And I think the other, I think a part of this investigation, we understand that this chopper from Fort Belvoir was on a routine training flight. I think the question is going to be, what kind of a training flight? What was the experience level of the pilots? Were they aware of the special rules governing air traffic in and around Reagan Airport? As you probably know, if you've flown into Reagan Airport, you cannot fly over, you will not fly over the Capitol, the National Mall, or for that matter, the White House. That's closed airspace. You have to come, for the most part, you have to come down the river, either north to south or south to north. And that's it. Now, I've talked to pilots who say it's a tricky airport to come into, but they like it because it's not boring. They like the fact that their piloting skills are put to the test as they have to make a hard right or a hard left as they come in on this to one of these runways.
Yeah, and as far as the BLACKHAWK helicopter, again, we understand there were 3 people on board that, so that would likely be pilot, the co-pilot, and the flight engineer or crew chief on board. I have flown on a number of those missions and flights, and sometimes the door is actually open on the aircraft, and visibility is pretty good out on a BLACKHAWK. But again, depending on the altitude of these 2 airplanes came together, they simply may not have seen each other. And there's that early, those shots we showed you a moment ago where you actually see the impact. It appears the helicopter maybe slices into the side or comes up from underneath the regional jet. There's
I
that video.
think the question's going to be here, if the chopper was below that plane, and it appears to have been below the plane, did the chopper just simply not see that plane as it was going to make a little bit of a left bank coming off of the river? There is some air traffic control, and I've listened to it, some air traffic control conversation tonight in which it does appear, but we want to get a full transcript of this and dissect it to make sure we understand what they're saying. But it does appear that chopper was perhaps told to pass behind the regional jet. It sounds garbled to me. It's difficult to understand. And then you hear another pilot come on and say to the tower, "Did you see that?" In other words, did you see the midair? But we need to get a full transcript and make sure that professional pilot ears are listening as closely as I try to.
It's probably safe to assume that they're going to have a lot of data to sift through very quickly.
So I was tagged in this. Let's see. Air traffic control gave the helicopter permission to pass the jet coming into DCA. I don't know. Let's check this out. Well, we have a moment before they start.
Go ahead and talk. Test.
Medevac Air 1 Western Tower, Nest Altimeter 290, approach to Western 512, versus Portland, Interior Fairfax. Pass 25, get the CRJ in flight. Pass 25, pass behind the CRJ.
I think anybody without a clamp should
Good separate.
American 4782 by Baton now for individual.
American 472 Washington Tower 1 star 32017.
Test.
Alright, this is Win.
Sorry.
Kind of hard to make out.
Did you see that?
American 472. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250, climb maintain 3000.
Okay, left in 350, 3000, American 3130.
Yeah. New footage of DC plane helicopter incident shows Black Hawk was blacked out. What do you mean by blacked out? I don't know why they put all that sound effect on it, but man. Full plane / helicopter collide. Washington D.C. via the Kennedy Center. A very strange incident. Earth cam. So you can see it. Oh wow, you can see a little bit better. Well, kind of not better, but more happening on the screen here. You see the plane right here. Plane right here, and I wonder if this is. Where's the helicopter at? Is it this? The two aircraft? Yeah, that's it. The two aircrafts beginning to approach each other. Look how from far away they were approaching each other. Directly into each other. Oh man.
Swede Lowry donated $20 through Super Chat. That's a lie. The TCAS would have picked that up way ahead of time. Miles away would have got alert in more than enough time. Currently a pilot and mech for UA flown CRJ 700N fixed them. Also currently
That's
work
crazy,
at DCA
man.
Reagan.
That is crazy.
Our cooperation is without pause, and we want to learn everything we can about today's events. That work will take time, but anything we can do now, we're doing. And right now, that means focusing on taking care of all passengers and crew involved, as well as their families. Members of our GO team will be on their way to Washington, D.C., and I'll be heading there shortly as well. We know that many people will be concerned for the welfare of their loved ones, and we've set up a special helpline friends and family can call at 1-800-679-8215. That's 1-800-679-8215. If you believe you've had friends or family on board American Eagle Flight 5342. We understand and appreciate that people are eager for information. Please know that we'll continue to share accurate and timely information as soon as we can, but anything we must report must be accurate. We owe that to...
Thank you, Swede Lowry. So that's a lie. The TCAS would have picked that up way ahead of time, miles away, would have got alert in more than enough time. Currently a pilot and mech for UA flown CRJ 700 and fixed them. Okay, wow. Also currently working at DCA Regan. Oh, this guy's pissed off. He's pissed off about the mic.
Fucking microphones on top of mine, so suddenly it's pointed the wrong way. Sorry, folks, that's not cool. All right, now, whose are these? This one is mine. All right, fine. It's not cool.
This dude pissed. Yeah, I've heard multiple mentions of this TCAS system, and I've watched. I like to watch some of the documentaries of planes, you know, and issues that have happened. I've heard that reference multiple times, and seeing that video now, I'm like, wow, I'm surprised.
They're going to be working side by side and hand in hand on this. You know, the scope of this is really quite large because I think it's complicated by the fact, of course, that you've got the victims, of course, in the water and needing rescue or recovery.
IMC McGuinness donated 50 Australian dollars through Super Chat. I have a friend that's a retired Australian Army. He said the Blackhawks have their own radar like ATC.
Really?
Blackhawk will have seen that coming, which is probably why they did the 200 up to 300 foot.
I don't know why the voice cuts it off, stops reading. Let me finish reading it.
These mics are not even going to catch.
IMC, thank you so much, man. I have a friend that's a retired Australian Army. He said the Blackhawks have their own radar like ATC. Blackhawk would have seen that coming, which is probably why they did the 200 up to 300 ascent. It was all too late. I wonder what the audio is like on that Blackhawk too.
I will. You do. You can hear 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Guys, one of your sticks is just hanging down. Does anybody see that? Anybody know whose mic that is?
Sorry. Okay. Test. Mic check. Okay. 2, 3, 4.
That's crazy to see that video like that.
One more.
Sorry. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. I'll mute that for now.
On the Potomac River.
these DC sort of dinner cruise lines, these sort of giant yachts where some tourists may go to get a unique view of the city. It appears that at least one of those is being used as sort of a staging area to help some of the effort for the divers and the search and rescue teams as they scan the water out there. Lester, to give you a sense of where we are, we're about 3/4 of a mile south of DCA, Washington Reagan National Airport right now. We are basically parked between where the crash we believe took place and between the airport itself. So the belief is that it's out in the water behind us here where it's likely that that debris and any survivors, the search for survivors would be taking place. But it does appear, while we're closer to the Virginia side, that this is closer to the Washington, D.C. side. So much of the activity we're seeing right now is on Joint Base Anacostia Bowling, which is further to the south, and the sort of southern part of the Washington Mall, that national park area, a giant public golf course there, Haynes Point. For anybody from the D.C. area may be familiar with that. It appears that that's where another major staging area and activity has been taking place at this hour. From other journalists I've been speaking to who cover the White House with me during the day, they are out here at night with this breaking news. They have been very close to where the Nats, the Washington Nationals baseball team, plays, near what is known as the Frederick Douglass Bridge that connects parts of D.C. To an area known as Anacostia right there. We know that that's where a lot of the boats and the effort has been taking place, as we are told that they saw boats and others going into the water from that point. Lester, but to give you a sense of the way that Washington, D.C. is viewing this moment, as I drove in only a couple of hours ago, the streets, the parkway was lined with cars and with individuals who had their eyes staring out into the blackness, into the darkness. They had their phones up as well, trying to get a better understanding if there was anything they might be able to see over the course of this hour. Now, for the first time in about 20 minutes, we are seeing another one of the helicopters. Here it comes. We're going to push up to give you a sense. This is one of those helicopters with a giant searchlight on top of it as it scans down into the distance.
Oh, I got to show you guys. Oops, sorry.
It's remarkable, Lester, from where we are, how much it can light up the water in an hour like this. There's no moon to be found in the sky, and it is effectively pitch black at this hour. So without efforts like that right now, it would be almost impossible to see anything. I should tell you that only about a decade ago, I flew aboard one of the Marine One helicopters right now. And I bring this up because, Lester, we were able to fly in that unique restricted airspace. We were flying from the White House to one of the nearby bases where it was landing without the president, of course, on board, but as part of a training mission that was taking place. And from that vantage point, you really got an understanding of just how complex.
So Trump made a post. I think this is probably on Truth Social, I guess. And this is what he said so far right now. The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It is a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if he saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good. Not good.
Next to Peter, we were showing you why he was talking. And I could see how it might look like you're looking at flames. Those are not flames. Those are emergency lights flashing on the vehicles. But it struck me a moment ago that it looks like fire. In fact, there are no visible fires burning at the crash sites here because these aircraft came down in water, where the search obviously is focused right now on pulling up any survivors they can or victims of this crash. I want to go to our NBC News Pentagon correspondent, Courtney Kuby. Courtney, you heard Peter and myself talking about the volume of military traffic up and down that area. Is it your sense that they typically are following, I guess, what you would call lanes in the sky? Are there corridors that normally handle the chopper traffic?
Yeah, exactly that, Lester. They are corridors or specific routes, and especially if, as we are now learning, this was a routine training flight. We're hearing that from the Military District of Washington. This UH-60 Blackhawk helicopter was engaged in a routine training flight. If that is the case, they are generally flying in these very specific corridors. It is a very restricted airspace, and that applies to U.S. military aircraft as well, especially when you're talking about them flying so close to a commercial airport like Reagan National Airport, or, as you just heard Peter mentioning, the Bolling Air Force Base, Joint Base Bolling, which is just across the way from Reagan National Airport. But this is a congested military area. So you have Bolling just slightly northwest of there. You have Fort Myer and the Pentagon, of course. You have Fort Belvoir. That is where this aircraft, this Blackhawk helicopter took off from today, Lester. We are learning a little bit more about the aircraft itself. It was assigned to the Bravo Company, the 12th Aviation Battalion, out of Davison Army Airfield at Fort Belvoir. Now, this is a component command, a sub-command of the Joint Task Force National Capital Region in the Military District of Washington. These aircraft fly throughout this area all the time. These pilots would be very well aware of these established routes and these corridors. So there will be a lot of questions about exactly what happened here. As you mentioned earlier, we can confirm there were 3 individuals on board. Given the type of aircraft this was, that's not really surprising. A pilot, a co-pilot, and an observer. That would indicate there were no passengers on board. These Blackhawks tend to be people movers, frankly. They tend to move people back and forth from place to place, but if 3 people would mean no passengers were on board. Beyond that, we don't have a lot more detail about the specific mission that they were undertaking for this flight. Now, we don't know at this case, as you and Tom and Peter have been talking about, the conditions out there are brutal. There is still no indication from Army officials, though, about the status of these 3 individuals. We are told that they are U.S. soldiers, all U.S. Army soldiers who were on board that aircraft at the time, but we just don't know their status. So much like the family members, the loved ones who are waiting to hear about the commercial aircraft and their loved ones who are on board, there are some military families who are also waiting for that same
donated
news tonight here in
$10 through
Washington,
Super
Lester.
Chat.
All right,
I love you
Courtney.
and your coverage, Mel, as much as Trump loves Trump. Pray for all involved, y'all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know about those reports about survivors earlier. Some people were saying there were survivors. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, that would be amazing. That would be a miracle. But I don't know, man. The reports that are the bodies that are being pulled out and the people in the planes being found in their seats, underwater. All right, still waiting on the press conference. It's now 12:30. Let's see if they get started. And they're saying too, so I played the one video, the near collision that we saw, which was crazy previously. And now there's a report that they're saying that there was 2 reported near collisions at the Reagan Airport last year. 2 planes narrowly avoided each other on the runway in May. The FAA said at the time, one had been cleared for takeoff, the other had been cleared to land on the crossway. In April, 2 planes on the ground nearly collided. They're also saying that there's commercial yachts out there appearing to help out on the river. Law enforcement says that the American Airlines plane broke into 2 pieces. The plane is in roughly 7 feet of water, and the helicopter is upside down in water. Divers are in the water as well. So that's not too deep.
Okay.
Okay, still waiting.
Yeah.
that good? 1234, 1234。
So there's new images being released. We're all supposed to this. New images are being released showing helicopter shots of rescue boats surrounding a crumbled fuselage section of the American Airlines flight, floating in the river. Or it could also be a section of the UH-60 helicopter, but hard to tell at this time. So they posted this picture here.
In-house media mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
3 Sides True Crime donated $5 through Super Chat. I sent you emails from the scanners saying
did?
1 survivor.
Oh, let me check it out.
Okay, I'm having it redone. Okay, Nicole, they say they fixed it, but
Okay, I guess they're still working on
As
that.
if this was just an instantaneous fireball. You know, the Sikorsky 60 is a big helicopter, and those are big blades. And if those blades ripped into the bottom of that plane, and of course tore into the fuel and the engines, it would have been, and it appeared to have been very, very quick indeed. I don't know that those pilots on board the regional jet could have done anything.
And Courtney Kuby, I want to go back to you. I understand Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has put out a message.
Yeah, he has. So we've heard a couple of very short messages, postings on X this evening from the new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. The most recent one, though, he says he calls this incident absolutely tragic. He tweets, or he posts a statement from the Joint Task Force, National Capital Region, and the Military District of Washington. We just talked about this aviation battalion actually falls underneath that command here. He posted a statement, which we have, but he says that search and rescue efforts are ongoing, and then says a investigation launched immediately by Army and DOD. So that gets to one of the questions, one of the things you and Tom were talking about earlier, the idea of how this could be investigated and whether the Department of Defense would have a component to that. I can tell you military helicopters like this BLACKHAWK should have a flight data recorder or a black box, as you were talking about earlier. That is standard, especially when we're talking about something, you know, flying here in the DC region. It's not in a combat area. It would be a very, this should be a very standard mission on a standard, you know, aircraft. But DOD does have, the various services actually have their own investigative bodies to look into crashes. You know, unfortunately, there are military aircraft crashes. We just heard about one in Alaska yesterday, only less than, just over 24 hours ago. An F-35 crashed. The pilot fortunately was able to eject safely out of that aircraft, but it crashed into a fiery ball of flames, Lester. So we've done a lot of reporting on the various military aircrafts, and the services will absolutely, I can guarantee you, will do a full investigation. And as we're hearing now from the new Secretary of Defense, both Army and the Department of Defense, he is saying, are launching immediate investigations into this incident here tonight, Lester.
Yeah, and you know, and as you have, Courtney, we've flown on military aircraft before. One of the things I have noticed is their awareness of the potential for this sort of accident. I've been on choppers, I've been on, you know, tankers and transports where you've got the crew chiefs or flight engineers, you know, immediately on takeoff, eyes out the window, looking out, being able to advise the folks at the controls if there's any potential impact, because in a lot of cases they do fly in and around major commercial airports.
Okay. Now they're saying, Tina tagged me, video wreckage from American Airlines flight. It's kind of blurry, but let's take a look and see. Oh, let me play the clip too that somebody sent me. 3 sides, true crime. Let's see. One survivor. Let's play the clip.
Man, meet up with you, please. I want to take one. You can take 2, please. Jerome, that's roll 4 guns, sir. Copy. EMS branch from Airport Fire Point 378. Go ahead. For our conversation earlier, I just spoke with Command Center out here on the water. They advised, as far as they know, they have one body that was taken to D.C. That is all they know so far. They'll confirm and get back with you. Okay.
I have one body. I was taking this.
Would you please? I want to take one. You can take 2, please. Jerome, that's roll 4 guns, sir. Copy. EMS branch from Airport Fire Point 378. Go ahead. For our conversation earlier, I just spoke with Command Center out here on the water. They advised, as far as they know, they have one body that was taken to D.C. That is all they know so far. They'll confirm and get back with you. Okay.
Okay, and still waiting, no pressure yet.
Or for their marching orders, where they need to be and where they can best be of assistance. There you see some other crews there in a orange raft, and they appear to be wearing the outfits we use in cold weather diving climates. And again, waiting perhaps for a most likely area to search to find someone. So difficult work, grim work. We talk about the bravery of first responders. This is what they do. But it's important and incumbent on us to point out the difficulty and their determination to do the job and do it well. Peter Alexander has been able to witness some of that firsthand. He is near the crash scene for us tonight. We saw choppers flying by a bit earlier above you. What's the scene there now?
Lester, if you could take our shot right now, right above us, you can see one of those choppers that for the last 5 minutes has been circling. It's only, honestly, it's not very high up, coming quite low, almost following the exact line that plane would have been taking as it was coming in that final descent and preparing to land at DCA. We've seen it make this lap now about 3 or 4 times in the last 5 minutes with this giant beam of light and circling back again, looking at the water, the Potomac. To give you a sense, this is frigid cold water. At this hour, the temperature hovering right at about freezing. The water said to be about 35 degrees, which means hypothermia sets in very quickly right now. But again, it is going back and forth now at the lowest level that we have seen it over the course of the last several hours, trying to get the best eyes possible on the Potomac River for any debris field, any potential for any survivors in the water, to see whatever it can to help in this effort at this late hour. Now, what is it, 12:40 in the morning? We are almost 4 hours removed from when that plane crash took place, and there remains a sense of urgency that we can see those giant, here it comes again, circling back around. Now it has really sort of intensified that search area. It had been a much wider area before, but it's really focusing in, hovering over what is known as Joint Base Anacostia Bowling. That is only a short distance away from DCA Reagan National Airport. We're only about 3/4 of a mile south of the airport right now. It's now hovering, going at a quite slow speed to really focus on the waterway. And that, well, we'll give you a sense. You can watch it for yourself. Lester, it's remarkable as we see the helicopter go by right now, because as black as it is, as pitch black as it is at this hour, it's really, without the lights on that helicopter, you would have the inability to see anything on the water here. The blessing for this effort is that only a matter of days ago, this water was iced over with a thick layer of ice. The temperatures in Washington, D.C., as many Americans likely saw on Inauguration Day, so cold that they forced the events that day.
CNN use... What is this? CNN has resorted to using a model aircraft to show what is believed to have happened to the BLACKHAWK American Airlines plane. Okay, let's see.
Because of where the rotors are, the pilots are probably locked in on the runway in front of them, and you can see how this sort of disaster is in the making. So it is really because of where the rotors are. The pilots are probably locked in on the runway in front of them, and you can see how this sort of disaster is in the making. So,
CNN.
The state of Maryland and Virginia right now sending their state police and rescue teams here, their dive teams as well, to go into this water in hopes that they might be able to find anything. Obviously, it's not just a search for the black boxes to learn information, but most urgently a search for any survivors that could be in the water right now. But recognizing that 4 hours have passed, it really does make it a grim situation as they try to find anybody who may still be in the water here. To give you a sense, though, of where we have seen most of the activity again, it's directly across the Potomac River from me. For those who are sports fans, you may be familiar with the Washington Nationals baseball team. They play at what is known as Nats Park, and Nats Park is effectively where our camera is looking right now, across the way near what's known as the Frederick Douglass Bridge that connects two parts of Washington, D.C., connects to the Anacostia neighborhood from closer to the Washington Mall. And that's where we have seen a lot of activity. I've been speaking to colleagues who are on the ground as well from other journalistic outlets in this area who have been there, and they have seen some of the dive teams going into the water there. Again, we are all waiting for the news conference to take place in the course of the next few minutes, Lester, as we hope to get more information. But, you know, absent this one helicopter, it's silent out here. And this is, as you know, one of the most congested airspaces in America, often not at this hour. But when the helicopter is not circling here, it is really an eerie silence right now as this search and recovery effort, search and rescue effort, continues at this hour.
Fluffle McGee donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Again.
Caffeine bucks tinkle.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm going to have some caffeine in the morning. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing good. Craziness, man. Just waiting here for the press conference. Want to get an official update, but it looks like they're delayed again.
Had a fear of flying and had for some time. That he told us that his wife had a fear of flying and had for some time, that she went to Wichita, Kansas for a work obligation and was coming home today on that American Airlines flight. The airport has very few people here right now, and for the families that have been coming in, they've been rushing to try to get information from officials with American Airlines that are providing them information about really the status of this investigation.
From all of this. This is what we were talking about how busy Reagan's runway is, one of the busiest runways in all the nation. Oh. This is Reagan's main runway here, busier than runways at Los Angeles Airport, Newark Airport, some Chicago airports. It points out that this is a very, very thin slice of airspace that all of the people flying in and out of D.C. and all of those military aircraft that we see all the time flying over us have to navigate. As they were fighting the congressional push to get more flights into Reagan this fall, the Metropolitan Airport authorities said that Reagan has a very narrow, restricted corridor for takeoffs and landings. Pilots routinely rate Reagan Airport among the nation's most challenging. And that just points out how difficult it is to fly in and out in a good condition, let alone this mishap here that someone in the wrong place at the...
John Mueller says that CNN's reporting no survivors have been recovered at this point. So I'll look for the source of that.
After some pressure from Congress people to get that flight added, but it had only been flying into Reagan for about a year into this very, very crowded space.
Yeah, they're saying no survivors so far. Search is grim. Search and rescue operation is becoming more grim with no survivors recovered so far, sources say. Or source says. The source described images from the rescuers as stunning, saying it was hard to make out what they were seeing. The plane, they said, was in several pieces. Two law enforcement sources and a source familiar with the situation confirmed that no survivors have been recovered at this point. Officials are preparing for this to be the deadliest disaster in D.C. in decades, since the Air Florida flight crashed into the 14th Street Bridge Wow.
Hey, everybody check your mics on those stands. One of them is hanging down.
Man, yeah. American Airlines CEO says he's heading to D.C.
After this crash here between an American Airlines and American Eagle plane, as we now know, as the head of American Airlines told us, and a BLACKHAWK helicopter here over the Potomac River. This is still the scene here hours later, as we have so many emergency personnel, so many emergency vehicles out here still right on the banks of the Potomac River. The water here surrounds the airport on multiple sides. If you've ever been to Gravelly Point to watch those planes land, come in and take off, you know that you're right up against the water. There's actually a boat launch area where you can go right there. So this plane coming in, and as Ted was just talking about, is the busiest runway in America. That's runway one.
Please take a moment of silence for those who lost their life-mending heart.
Yeah, it's horrible. I can imagine the families like that. The husband that was there waiting for his wife, and she had a fear of flying. Just crazy. So if there's no survivors, that would be, if there's none, which I don't know, those like so far it's said they haven't, that'd be 64 plus the 3 in the helicopter, 67 people. Wow.
And I can tell you from covering the NTSB for years, once they take control of the situation, they're in control. They will gather all the facts and all the information. But right now we are seeing police boats, emergency response teams, helicopters still over the river. And I do want to show you how far down this response goes. We're here at the airport. You see all the emergency personnel. As we span to the right and pan down to the right, you'll see police boats that are still out in the water looking for wreckage, looking for people. We believe that they are starting to identify some pieces of wreckage all the way down to almost the Wilson Bridge, which is what you're looking at right now. So you have this, you know, if you live around here, you can just think about the expansiveness from the Wilson Bridge all the way through Alexandria, Old Town Alexandria, through the airport here.
2025 sucks,
up
so
to the DC
sending
channel.
love and positive thoughts to everyone.
We apologize.
Everywhere. Bless you all, chat Mel and family. Love you all. Please hit the thumbs up. It helps Mel.
Thank you for the 22 months, TT. Hope you're good.
The impact that we saw in the video of the helicopter colliding with the airplane, you can imagine. Plus, it's on water, so you can imagine how big that debris field has to be.
And our Mark Seagraves has been reporting that from his sources that the BLACKHAWK helicopter involved, which was out of Fort Belvoir, Virginia, on a training flight, 3 passengers on board, was broken in half. Mark is now standing by live. Mark, can you hear us?
Yeah, I have you.
Okay, we were just talking about the information you had earlier, setting the scene and describing the wreckage.
Yeah, we're on Dangerfield Island, which is the Washington Sailing Marina. We're on the Virginia side, just south of Reagan National Airport, and we've been showing you across the river along the shoreline at Joint Base Anacostia Bowling, where most of the activity is taking place. But what has just shifted here in about the past 10 minutes, and you can see them coming up above us now, these helicopters who have been searching the D.C. side of the river river. All night that we've been here for the past 3 hours, they've been on the other side of the river, searching that side of the river. You can see this chopper now. They have shifted their focus to our side of the river. They have been sweeping this area of Dangerfield Island and the Washington Sailing Marina for about the last 10 minutes. You can see one of these choppers now with his light beam coming down on our side. This is a definite shift in their search pattern just in about the last 10 minutes that they are now searching this side of the river. Just another indication of both how large the debris field and how large the search area is, that they are now going from both sides of the river with these helicopters. And again, that's a change in just about the last few minutes. To recap what I was reporting earlier about the plane, we're told by sources that are part of this dive team that are part of the search mission that airplane is in about 7 feet of water. You can hear that helicopter directly above us right now, the search helicopter. But the airplane rests in about 7 feet of water, according to multiple sources. The airplane is split in two, and divers from both D.C. Police and D.C. Fire have made entry into the wreckage of the plane, looking for whatever they can, whether they be survivors or making recoveries of bodies. We have not been given clear guidance on that yet from officials. We hope to get that at the press conference. As for that BLACKHAWK helicopter, I'm told by those same sources that the helicopter is upside down in the water. It is in a more precarious situation, bobbing up and down. Sometimes they see it above the surface, sometimes it goes below the surface. But at last check, when I spoke to my sources, they told me divers had not been able to make entry into that helicopter just because it was not stable enough for them to go into yet. So again, a massive rescue.
Okay, they're starting now. Here we go. I think this is it. Okay.
Let's listen in.
Look at that front man.
I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C. I'm at Reagan National Airport. I am joined by United States Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, United States Senator Jim Moran, Senator Roger Marshall, Jack Potter, the CEO of the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority. We are here to brief you on the very tragic events of this evening, where we know a passenger plane coming to the airport here collided with a military helicopter. Our fire department, DC Fire and EMS, supported by fire departments and police departments from across the Washington metropolitan region, are executing a rescue operation in the Potomac River. They are working diligently in very dark and cold conditions, cold water, to execute this rescue operation. We have had the opportunity to be briefed by American Airlines officials. I'm told that American Airlines leadership is on the way to Washington as well. And officials are in the airport talking to families now. We do have a 1-800 number where families should contact us, should contact American Airlines for more information, and we will be providing that information shortly. I am going to turn to a number of officials to provide as much information as we can this evening, and we expect to have more frequent briefings at daylight. So with that, I'm going to turn to Secretary Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. I think for all of us, we want to extend our thoughts and prayers to those individuals who were impacted by the events tonight, their families. We know this is a very difficult time for all of them. I want to join the mayor and everyone here to extending our thank you to the first responders who, again, in very difficult situations and environments, are out there searching and attempting to rescue. Tonight, I spoke with President Trump and his team in the Situation Room. I had a conversation with Secretary Pete Hegseth as well, and then with the Kansas delegation and the mayor and others in leadership, as well as Governor Youngkin from Virginia and Governor Kelly from Kansas. From the Department of Transportation and FAA's perspective, we are going to offer full support to those on the ground, to the mayor, but also to the NTSB, who is going to be conducting the investigation in this matter. We are going to provide all the support that's necessary. Mayor.
So with that, I want to ask Chief John Johnley from DC Fire and EMS to provide an update.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Donnelly, Chief of DC Fire and EMS. This evening at 8:48, an alert was sounded, initiating a large regional response to a report of an aircraft crash on approach to the airport. This response includes first the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority's Fire Department, the District of Columbia Fire Department, the Metropolitan Police Department, and the U.S. Park Police to respond into the area and to sort that out. At 8:58, the first units arrived on the scene and found an aircraft in the water and began rescue operations. This incident has grown. There's currently about 300 responders working. We have boats from all throughout the region, police and fire boats. We have a mutual aid agreement in Washington, D.C., the National Capital Region Mutual Aid Agreement administered by the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, and we're all operating under that. We're operating under a unified command. Everybody's together. So we also have requested state police helicopters from Maryland, and the Coast Guard helicopter is working. So this is a state and federal response as well. U.S. Coast Guard's got some boats in the water as well. So it's a highly complex operation. The conditions out there are extremely rough for the responders. It's cold. They're dealing with relatively windy conditions. Wind is hard out on the river. So they're out there working. We're doing everything we can to keep them safe. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to the mayor.
In Chief Bonnet from MWA.
I'm Rick Bonnet, Fire Chief of MWA Fire and Rescue. Our units, as Chief Donnelly already alluded to, at 2048, we received an alert from the FAA tower of an aircraft incident involving a commercial aircraft and a helicopter. Our units immediately responded and deployed 3 boats and immediately called for mutual aid resources. Again, as Chief Donnelly said, it's an active operation that's going to last many hours as we continue to work through recovery efforts and rescue operations. This will be ongoing for quite a while. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families and our communities, and we appreciate all DC's support to our agency and our federal partners.
So with that, I wanted to turn to the senators who are from Kansas who wanted to say a few words. First, Senator Moran, and then Senator Marshall.
Mayor, thank you, and Mr. Secretary, thank you, and to our first responders, thank you very much for all that's taking place here. I'm Jerry Moran. I'm a United States Senator from Kansas, and I chair the subcommittee and Commerce Committee on Aviation. So we have really a serious and sad circumstance that we want to be here to be helpful. And we're praying that our responders are safe and the folks who are on that flight are recovered. The circumstance I would describe is that I know that flight. I've flown it many times myself. I lobbied American Airlines to begin having a direct nonstop flight service to DCA. That flight has been in existence about a year. And it is certainly true that in Kansas and in Wichita in particular, we're going to know people who are on this flight, know their family members, know somebody. So this is a very personal circumstance as well as an official response. And again, we will do everything we can to make certain that we're supportive of the rescue efforts, and we'll do everything we can to make certain that our subcommittee and Congress is engaged in what needs to take place following the outcome of this evening and this month's kind of investigation. I've talked to NTSB, I've talked to the White House, I've talked to the Department of Defense, and I've talked to the CEO of American Airlines. And there is all of us pulling together for the best outcome possible. I'm honored to be here with my colleague, Senator Marshall, as we try to make certain that we care for those certainly back in Kansas that were on that flight. But it's a reminder that there are people here in Washington, D.C., in this region, in Virginia and Maryland, and many places else that fly to and from Kansas. And so we're rooting and supporting all those, regardless of where you're from. And Mayor, I appreciate the gathering here for us to try to provide information to those in Kansas and across your city. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you, Senator Moran and Mayor, Secretary. You know, when one person dies, it's a tragedy, but when many, many, many people die, it's an unbearable sorrow. It's a heartbreak beyond measure. And I know Senator Moran and I are here just to say we care. We wish that there was more we could do, but unfortunately there doesn't seem much at this time. I want the folks to back home to just know that we care, that we love them, and that this is a time when we'll have to join arms together and help each other out. We've been through things like this before, through tornadoes and floods and things, but it's really hard when you lose, probably over 60 Kansans simultaneously. And I don't want to forget the pilots and the flight attendants, who are doing do their job, and the military personnel we lost. All those lives are so valuable, and it is such a tragedy that we lost them. I think often in times like this, I try to find a scripture that is apropos, and this is from the book of Psalms. It says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Certainly we're crushed in spirit tonight. We mourn with the families who lost loved ones, and we truly are joining them in prayer and wrapping our arms around them in love and compassion. Thanks for everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you for your thoughts and your prayers.
So certainly I speak for the people of Washington, 700,000 of us who are extremely sorry for the families who are experiencing loss tonight. And so we want you to know that we will continue to work with American Airlines to share information as frequently as possible and make sure that we're getting accurate information out to the public. But my sorrow for all of the people and crew on the plane and our military personnel on the helicopter is very deep. I do want to turn to Jack Potter, who is the CEO of our Airports Authority, responsible for Reagan National Airport and Dulles International Airport, to talk to you about how the airport responded and what we're what's going to happen next.
Good evening. As was said, I'm Jack Potter, the President and CEO of the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority. Thank you all for being here tonight and under these very, very grim circumstances. First of all, I want to let you know that we're providing support to all the families who are involved. American Airlines has established a phone number for them to reach out. It's been published, but let me repeat it. It's 1-800-679-8215. So families of folks that were on the plane are asked to contact them. We did have folks who were at the airport to pick up loved ones. And so American has set up a center in their in their lounge at the north end of the airport. And we've directed the families there. And there are folks there counselors there to work with the families. We did have aircraft that were in the air. They were diverted to Dulles Airport, some 19 aircraft. We had personnel, United and others had personnel. We want to thank WMATA for extending their hours on the Metro to make sure that those folks were accommodated. Right now, as was said earlier by the chief, we're in a rescue mode. We will continue in that rescue mode. I want to thank all of the mutual aid responders, all the counties, the district, folks from Maryland and Virginia. Everybody's on site doing the best they can, and numerous boats out in the water right now. NTSB is on site. I want to thank all of the folks behind me, the secretary, the mayor, the 2 senators for all of their support. And we're going to continue to work through the night. I do want to make an announcement. People are, concerned about what's going to happen in the morning. Reagan National Airport will be closed until 11 o'clock. That's when the first flights will take off. But we're going to continue to do our best and work through this situation over the course of the night. And we hope to have more news as it develops. But for right now, it's a very difficult situation out there with the cold. It's very dark, but there are numerous boats out there. There are dive teams out there. So, again, we'll continue to work this situation, and I'll turn it back to the mayor. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that update. And you've heard that in the National Capital Region, the district, of course, is Washington, D.C. is at the center, but we are a close region. We have heard from the governors of Maryland and Virginia, the mayor of the city of Baltimore, all who have sent us personnel to help in the rescue operations. Last thing I'll note is just to our local viewership, and just please let our first responders do their work. Try to let our vehicles get to scenes and through scenes. We don't want anybody else to get hurt because of moving vehicles, okay? So we will be able to take a few questions. There's not a lot that we can say. We won't be able to say anything about an investigation. As you know, once Fire and EMS completes the rescue operation, then the investigation goes over to the National Transportation Safety Board. And I'm sure the Safety Board, NTSB, will provide information about when they will be briefing about an investigation. So we'll take a few. Yes?
Can you confirm that both aircraft are in the water, and perhaps Chief Donnelly can explain what's involved in conducting an operation like this?
Yes, both aircraft are in the water. The focus now is rescuing people, and that's what all of our personnel are focused on. And Chief, I think he's given a pretty good description, but if there's anything else you want to add, Chief?
I would just say that the boats are out doing searches. We have divers on both aircraft, and they're searching the aircraft at this point.
Right.
Mayor?
Yes.
Have any survivors been found, and how many bodies have been recovered?
All we can confirm tonight is the number of people on each aircraft, 64 people on the American Airlines plane and 3 people on the military helicopter. And we can't provide any more information about recovery efforts.
People are talking about loss of loved ones. So how do you know?
I didn't say I didn't know people had lost loved ones. I said we can't talk about any of the recovery efforts in specific tonight. Yes. So I'll call on who's next. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Bouncer. Will this affect operations at Dulles and PWI? Will the Potomac River traffic be closed to boats?
Yes. And so Jack has talked about, can you talk about Dulles? I'm not sure we can talk about the BWI, but we can talk about Dulles.
There is no impact at BWI or at Dulles. As I said earlier, our airport here, Ronald Reagan National Airport, will be closed until 11 o'clock. Obviously, that will be fluid we'll learn more, but we wanted to advise passengers who might be coming to the airport in the morning that we will be closed until at least 11 o'clock.
Question for Secretary Duffy. Question for Secretary Duffy. Yeah, 1 second. You're next.
Hi, Mayor. Thank you so much. So, just other than current situations like we know the water is extremely cold and it's very dark outside.
How about all the static too?
Scientists saying that there are numerous holes in the water. What's the still the biggest challenges for the rescue team? What best scenario we can expect in our rescue?
She.
So the challenges are access.
Yeah, no, I didn't see this.
The water that we're operating in is about 8 feet deep. There is wind, there is pieces of ice out there, so it's just dangerous and hard to work in. And because there's not a lot of lights, you're out there searching every square inch of space to see if you can find anybody. Divers are doing the same thing in the water. The water is dark, it is murky, and that is a very tough condition for them to dive in. The question about the river, we'll make that decision later. The Coast Guard's on scene, and I would expect that it's not a high use time in the river, and we should not expect to have commercial recreational traffic on the river tomorrow.
Okay, 3 questions. 1, 2, 3.
Secretary Duffy, you've been in touch with the air traffic controllers who were in the tower at the time of the crash.
I have not.
And it's been mentioned this is your first several hours in this position. What are your thoughts?
Static is really bad.
My focus is on those who are impacted on this flight. And again, I've been secretary for a little over a day, and the tragedy that we're going to deal with this recovery, I think is touching everyone's hearts, whether it's here in the greater DC area or in Kansas. And again, I think everyone here is thinking and praying for those who potentially have lost a loved one. And thank you.
Thanks for your question.
Can any of you give us any sense about how an accident like this could have happened so close to the airport, right in the heart of DC? There have been reports that the DCA tower contacted the helicopter moments before the crash to ask if they had sight of the aircraft, and apparently the helicopter reported that it did have sight of an aircraft. Is it possible that it had the wrong aircraft in sight? Do you have any sense of what went wrong in those final moments?
I know that the National Transportation Safety Board in its investigation will be able to search on all of those questions. We wouldn't be able to talk about that tonight. Yes.
2 parts for Secretary Duffy. The first thing, you were talking about the current situation with the president and about both being there. Can you tell us more about the president's initial reaction to this?
What the hell y'all doing? Okay, hold on. Let me just switch it. What?
In this crisis, I know the president is incredibly concerned about what's happened here today. I'm sure we'll continue to hear more from him, and I'll continue to consult with him and Secretary Hegseth.
When it comes to the resources that you would be able to provide on the federal level, do you feel like you're getting what you need?
Absolutely. The president has committed to this team and to the NTSB through the DOT that we will provide all resources necessary as we go through this recovery, but also the support from FAA and DOT as the NTSB investigates.
Mr. Secretary, do we know the condition of these aircraft? Are they whole? Are they split? Are they pieces?
Again, I don't think we can comment on that. Our focus is on getting the passengers and crew out of the water.
And just one more clarification, because earlier we got guidance that DCA was going to shut down at least until Friday at 5 a.m. I just heard 11 a.m. tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. We can take a few more questions. A question here, and here.
Mayor Bowser, can you just confirm, has anybody been transported to the hospital?
I can't say anything about the rescue operation right now. Who was next?
Yes. Chief Donnelly, can you speak a little bit more about the unified command who leads this phase of the rescue and recovery? At what point do you then change phases? And can you describe to us the scene as best you can when first responders first arrived?
So I happened to be listening to the radio this evening when the call came out. I listened to the responders come in, and the initial response, they They were very professional trying to locate this. This is, if you can imagine, the river is a large black spot at night with no lights on it except for a few buoy lights. So they were out there looking. The boats pretty quickly were able to locate one of the aircraft and get there. So that's what's going on right now. Everybody's working on that. We will reevaluate where we are with the rescue operation in the morning when we get a better sense of it, but we are still out there working, and we're going to continue that throughout the night.
Do you have a sense that there are survivors?
We don't know yet, but we're working.
Is any part of the search happening over land?
No, we're all in the water.
Yes. Oh, you got a question. Somebody didn't get a question. Hold on. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, do you have an estimate yet on how long the recovery efforts will take?
So experiences like this we expect to continue our operations in the fire department for multiple days. And then I would expect the investigation goes longer than that.
Okay, you didn't get a question, and you were next, I think.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. My question is, do we have any plan to prevent future crash or future accidents? Do we have any like to reform the airport control to calm those people who are flying in the next few days? And also, how long the rescue is going to last? Are we going to stop rescue after tomorrow 11 a.m.? This divers team, because they are still in the golden hours now.
No, I mean, I think you just heard the chief said we're going to be out there as long as it takes, and we're obviously trying to get to people as soon as possible, but we are going to recover our fellow citizens. Yes.
This is for the Chief and Secretary Duffy. How do you balance the search and rescue operation with preserving the scene for the investigation that's now underway?
So from the fire department's point of view, we are always going to put people first. But I don't think I think our operations, because we have a unified command, we are all working together, and the NTSB is in contact with us, and we will work together to make sure that if there's crucial evidence that it's preserved. And that's something we do every day with our police department on crime scenes and things. So life comes first, and everything else is after that.
Okay, last question. Yeah.
Secretary Duffy, I just want to ask, I know it's early, but are there any immediate actions the FAA should take to prevent helicopters and commercial airplanes from getting too close to one another?
So obviously there'll be a review of what happened here tonight. And after the FAA studies what happened, we will take appropriate action if necessary to modify flight paths and permissions.
Do you have any more details about the helicopter mission with the BLACKHAWK? And Mayor Bowser, have you heard directly from President Trump?
I spoke with the President's National Security Advisor, and I have not talked to the President yet, and I do not know what the mission was. So let me close by saying again, thank you to the members of the press to help us get information out to the families. The American Airlines number is 800-679-8215. 800-679-8215. And I expect the airport will likely provide additional information in the morning. Thank you.
Wow. Well, it's got to be pretty frustrating for the families. I can imagine what it would be like. To be in that situation. And it doesn't sound good, man. It doesn't sound good. I don't even believe that there was 4 pulled out that survived. There was some reports earlier. I don't know. From what I'm seeing online, like from CNN said no survivors. According to their sources. Just a really, really horrible situation. So, I mean, I hope they find somebody alive, or a couple people alive, or however many people they can. But it does not sound good at all. This midair collision. What happened? You know? Well, I guess I'm gonna call it a night because I haven't been staying up late in a while. I'm actually pretty tired, but I'll check in tomorrow. Check in tomorrow with you guys when I can, and we'll try to update the story to see what they say. You know, and prayers to the family and loved ones and friends. Yeah, horrible. The conspiracy thing is kind of going on too. Just real quick to sidestep for a minute before I jump off. The conspiracy thing is still kind of going. CNN reportedly had articles pre-written about the plane 5 to 6 hours ago when the crash reportedly happened around 9 p.m. Eastern. If you have screenshots, please share. I don't know. Was there another little plane crash earlier or something? FAA issues ground stop airport after plane crashes. I grabbed this earlier. Small plane crashes near Washington, D.C. And there's another one too. They said somebody predicted this. I don't know. Somebody said they see this.
Predictions regarding planes. The first one I get is a commercial plane. There's a lot of people on board and there's a lot of people affected by it. It's basically some sort of surprise attack on a commercial airplane. It's like, I keep getting the feeling that it's an inside job, as in that it's someone who is on board and inside the plane, or someone who works for the airline is somehow involved in this.
I don't know. They said she posted it hours ago. But anyway, I'm going to get some rest, man. Thank you guys so much. Take care. So much craziness going on.
Donated $20 through Super Chat. Mel, did you get engaged? Sorry, but I noticed the ring and I'm nosy.
No. This is a Aura health ring. It's like a ring that tracks your sleep and your calories and your breathing and all that stuff. It's kind of a cool ring. So, yeah, I track my health and stuff like that. I've been going to sleep early, like by 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 maybe. Tonight was kind of late, but thank you though, Melissa. Appreciate it. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Rest up. Thank you so much. All right, take care. Bye. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Peace. Rest up. Oh, and K-Dubs, thank you for the Cash App. I saw the 20 Cash App. I think that was from yesterday, but I don't know if yesterday is like, yeah, technically yesterday, but today. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.